Hey everyone, Brian from Three Geeky Dads here. Before we begin tonight's episode, I just want everyone to know that we are now sponsored by Audible. As an IT professional for a school department, I find myself behind the wheel of my car traveling between schools almost all day long, and that's where Audible comes in. Right now, I'm enjoying listening to Douglas Adams' Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, read by Stephen Fry. It's so enjoyable to hear this hilarious audiobook read by a proper British comic actor. And that's just scratching the surface. Audible is the leading provider of spoken word content, with everything from bestsellers, celebrity memoirs, and news to podcasts. Yes, if you're into podcasts, and you're listening to us right now, so we can assume you do, Audible has got you covered. Just go to www.audibletrial.com/3GD to get your free 30-day trial today. That's www.audibletrial.com/3GD to get your free 30-day trial. You'll get 1 credit, 2 credits if you're already an Amazon Prime member. That's good for any premium selection titles you like, and they're yours to keep. You also get the Audible Plus catalog of podcasts, audiobooks, guided wellness, and Audible originals. Listen all you want. No credits needed. Again, that's www.audibletrial.com/3GD. $14.95 a month after your 30-day trial. Cancel at any time. Audible. Stay informed, connected, and inspired. And now, on with the show.
Warning, incoming dad joke. Warning, incoming dad joke.
Hey guys, I asked 20 women in my neighborhood about their preferred shampoo.
Oh?
Yeah, really? And a staggering 100% of them use Get Out of My Shower.
Ah!
Never heard of that brand.
Yeah, no, I have. From my wife.
Comes with a kick to the balls.
Who is your daddy, and what does he do?
It was like a pink nightmare.
Christmas has a Yule log. Not a log, I don't have a log, but it's...
All that I have, all that I've learned, everything I feel, all this and more I bequeath you, my son.
Your father was Frankenstein, and your mother was the lightning.
We named the dog Indiana.
I am your father.
I mean, you're not wrong. In the winter, sometimes they still hurt.
Well, the thing is, Mark, you got to pair it with the conditioner.
That's what
it's called. Not Tonight.
I know that well. Honey, if you're listening, I love you.
Quick.
Yeah.
I like that. Not tonight.
Quick, not tonight. Quick. All words in the bedroom. My mom listens to this show. Hello and welcome to another thrilling episode of Three Geeky Dads, the show that brings geek to a whole new level, past 11 and straight into, well, off-putting. I am Mark, and with me as always are the Joe and Joe to my rabbit,
Derek.
and Brian. And joining us as always to say F you to math and the accuracy to our show title, the man whose level of awesomeness is matched only with his level of gassiness, Tito.
Hey.
Yes. Put a fart joke in there.
Yeah, that's good.
We haven't had a good Tito fart joke.
That's true.
I don't think we've ever had
Like
a good
ever.
fart joke.
Ever. It's never happened.
How's everybody doing since I last talked to you?
Yeah,
Good.
same.
Anything exciting happening before I go into the rest of this? Anything good? The Oscars? Everybody happy with the Oscar
fuck the
wins?
Oscars.
Okay.
I didn't
see
watch
him.
it at all.
Did it? Okay. Nobody like. All right. I didn't either.
Yeah.
All right. That's all the small talk I've got. It's warmer out.
Yeah,
Some
Beautiful
weather.
day.
We got
And
we
Mac
got that going
Jones.
for
No
us.
more Mac Jones from the Patriots.
Normac.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
Oh, I didn't hear
it's a
that.
Beautiful day.
Bye-bye.
Traded to the Jaguars.
Oh,
Yep.
Traded
good,
my
good,
ass.
good luck to the Jags.
Screw up Jacksonville.
All right, I feel like a real man. We talk some sports. All right. Tonight we continue our In the March of Madness with a look into your neighbor's house. Well, not your neighbor, but that creepy neighbor house that everyone at one point has lived near. Unless you're us, which in that case, you're the poor fool living near us. I am, of course, talking about director Joe Dante's cult classic, The Burbs, the story of your average family man who finds himself soon thrown in a world of bizarre, creepy, and pasty white people. No, he did not go to Walmart. It's right next door. Right next door to him. But before we rummage through garbage, check the basement, and wonder what happened to Walter, our own creepy culinary creator of cuisine, Brian, has prepared a yummy appetizer to start us off.
All the goddamn brownies.
And make sure some sardines and crackers are
absolutely
wouldn't be a sardines and pretzels.
I want sardines and pretzels, and I want olives.
Too much salt there.
Who's in here? No one. And Oreos.
Who's in here? A little guy.
There it is.
These tiny breads. Like, it doesn't work. I don't.
Fold it.
Just stop folding it. Just stop folding it.
And I don't want this. I want larger bread so I can put this over this. But this doesn't work. So
if I fold it, stop folding it.
Just
stop folding
you don't
it.
Fold it.
Tonight, as Mark mentioned. Tonight, as Mark mentioned, we're continuing this year's In the March of Madness series with a look at Tom Hanks in The Burbs. Directed by Joe Gremlin's Dante, it tells the story of Ray Peterson. He just wants to spend the week off from work hanging around the house being lazy, but he's pulled into a paranoid plot to uncover what the creepy new neighbors on the block might be up to. They might be part of a murderous satanic cult. Yes, this film has a very stacked cast. Tom Hanks, as we already mentioned, Carrie Fisher, Bruce Dern, Henry Gibson, and even in smaller roles, we've got Dick Miller, friend of the show, Robert Picardo, and even Corey Feldman. Remember Corey Feldman?
Unfortunately.
I'm here.
He was once a thing.
The comeback kid.
And now I think he's just moonwalking up my street. Tito, did you see him?
He's selling solar panels. He's selling solar panels outside.
At night.
He accosted me. I took a handful of change. I threw it up in the air. When he looked, I ran.
Hey, pizza guy!
Scratching for it.
Pizza dude!
He was picking up my change, and I ran right into your house.
Yeah,
Come to my one-man show.
and handing out demo CDs.
Yeah. We make fun of poor Corey on the show a lot, but he was once a very respected young actor, so...
Once.
Was he, though?
Once.
Was
there was once. So we thought we'd take this opportunity to talk about some of our favorite Corey Feldman films.
Let's talk about Corey.
Let's
talk a little Corey.
I've been waiting for this day.
This was Brian's idea too.
It was
phenomenal idea.
But I think he was joking.
But
I kind of was.
Tito
everybody ran with it
right away.
Like, why not?
Yes.
Love it.
Why not?
Tito, you happen to be starting off this week.
That's right.
I hate it.
Okay.
I wish I was going last, but I'll go first.
I'm nuts to you.
All right, I'm going License to Drive.
Wow, really?
Good
Corey
choice.
Haim is technically the star,
Yeah.
but Corey
He usually
Feldman
is.
is running shotgun on this one.
Yeah.
And it's a fun movie with the Coreys, and he has to steal his grandfather's car and to pick up Heather Graham so they can go on a date. And hijinks ensue, and he needs Corey Feldman and his other friend, who I don't even know. Keith! I love that scene.
I use that line all the time.
Yeah.
The old drunk guy when he gets in the car.
Keys!
I say that in my head every time I pick up my keys in the morning. I do. It just sticks with you.
That part is hilarious. It's
some
hilarious.
lines just stick
You
with
sure it's in your head and you're not saying it out loud?
Keys.
Such a funny. I think this could have there could have been like 2 or 3 more of these. You know what's weird about the Coreys is that they made so many movies together.
Yeah.
And they hated the fact that they made so many movies together.
Did they?
But if they just embraced it
and loved it,
I think they would have done a lot better for themselves. Because there was a point where it's like, oh my God, we're doing movies.
Yeah.
Okay, the Coreys.
Yep.
But I think you could have made like 2 or 3 at least sequels out of this movie, and they could have been pretty fun. But yeah, this is one from my youth that I absolutely love. It's a one that I go back to every once in a while. It's just like a fun film.
It is.
And I love Heather Graham.
Yeah.
Not enough love for Heather Graham out there in the world.
Suitable flesh. Go see it.
Oh, I got to see that. Yeah.
You will
I've
not be
been
disappointed.
I gotta watch it.
Well, I wanted to go with the Frog Brothers, Edgar Frog from The Lost
I
Boys.
thought everybody would be picking that one.
But
Me too.
I got to go Tommy Jarvis.
So I thought you were going to pick that one.
I knew I was going to pick it too.
Of course I'm going to pick this one. More so for the character than Corey's little performance. If we're going performance, then Lost Boys or Goonies for sure. But love him or hate him, this is the only little kid to take on a slasher. All the other ones are teenagers, but he's a little kid. He's a little horror movie nut. He loves movie masks. He's a little Tom Savini kind of guy. And he has to go against one of the biggest, baddest slashers in Hollywood history with little to no help. You know, it's not a team of kids. It's not a Stephen King story. This is pretty much him and his hot older sister and hot mom. But they really don't do a whole hell of a lot. It's all him. So got to give props to Tommy Jarvis. I wish he had stuck around for the next couple of movies.
Yeah.
And they really built the character just off of him, because I feel like it would have been even better. Tommy would have been a better, more solidified character because it was played by one actor.
Yeah, I don't like Tommy Jarvis in the next one. I like Tommy Jarvis in the one that you really like.
6.
Is that 6?
Tom
I like
Matthews.
the actor who plays him.
Yeah,
in
he's
that one.
okay. He's okay, but he's not Corey Feldman.
But it's certainly a departure. Right. Neither one of them.
Yeah,
that
I liked
made
him
this-
too, and I would have liked to have seen Corey Feldman in part 6,
Yeah.
reading those awesome lines. You know, wherever the red dot goes, you bang. I mean, I could hear that voice now.
Sorry to go off track, but do you feel like recasting has always been more acceptable in horror?
I mean, yeah,
Like
it
we're
hasn't
more
bothered
inclined
me.
to overlook a recasting of a character. Like,
I think it's more
It
noticed
depends.
in horror.
Yeah.
Maybe now, but back in the 80s, though, I don't think people cared that much about it because they never knew the next one was coming.
Yeah,
Right.
True.
Right. that's
Mainly
true.
enough. So it's like, oh, we got another.
I know there was no internet. There was no like buzz around things before it came out.
And every title was like, it's the final chapter. Oh, well, there'll never be another one. It's a new beginning. Oh, it's the beginning.
Fooled you.
So,
And you don't necessarily have to know the character to care to watch the next one.
Pretty much. I
Or
mean,
the- or the
a lot of
lore,
people.
the
So a lot of
stories.
people
That's true.
consider Part 4 to be one of the more character-driven ones because you've got somebody that's obviously started a whole new trilogy, a Jarvis
Right.
trilogy, if you will, even though it was played by different actors. And you know, I think they're good movies. I do. Even the 5th one, it's, you know, it's a departure, but it's. Yeah, I don't think it would bum me out like it would if it was a superhero flick. You know, certainly not now. But back in the 80s, canon just was not the thing, especially
yeah,
in
it
a
wasn't
slasher
as people
film.
were
Yeah.
asking.
Right.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So the short answer is no.
Right. Sequels are more standalone
Yeah,
stories.
whoever you get.
All right. So was this his roles or just the movies in general?
Well, I think
Either
you can't
one.
have one without the other. I mean,
both,
that,
both are
if
right.
this
You
is-
can,
'Cause I hate
you
him.
can pick and choose.
I don't like him in anything really.
even in the Frog Brothers, even in
I don't. I
Lost
like
Boys.
those. Well, that's the thing is like that movies out of his movies. My number one.
Yeah.
is
So
Lost Boys.
that would be your number
All right.
one. Yeah.
So you can pick it.
Yeah. All right.
Nobody else has.
Because there's only really
I
one
almost
role
did.
that I like. I'm like Corey Feldman. Yeah. All right.
And it's when he's
It's not Frog Brothers.
Oh,
so what is it?
It's
Dream a Little Dream.
Ninja Turtles.
Donatello.
Like his voice works for
Yeah,
Donatello.
It's great for Donatello.
Yeah. He's a little like that era of kid.
Yeah.
Their language and stuff, and that works.
the lingo.
And I don't have to look at him, so
Well,
it's
you
great.
got that.
And you like the movie.
Well, yeah,
Great movie.
yeah. He's
You
not
just
in the
said
second
magic
one.
word.
He's not in the second
He's in the
one.
first and the third.
Yeah.
And the second one is my favorite. I know
right,
people don't.
right.
Yeah,
You're
but I
weird.
Don't,
I forgot
don't
that.
like Donatello.
I forgot you're strange. I forgot about that.
But,
you guys watch the newer ones first, and then go back and watch the older ones.
The Turtles?
No, just movies in general. You
Not
start at
Turtles,
part 3 and then you
no.
go backwards.
That only happened to me. That happened to me
only
with
did
Beverly
that with
Hills
Beverly
Cop.
Hills.
Beverly Hills Cop.
Only with that one. Normally, I do watch them in order, unless it's a series that like we do on here, and I've never I wasn't into it.
Yeah.
Like I think I saw Highlander 1 first, but then I saw Endgame, and then the one that we
You
did.
went all over the place.
Yeah, and then the one that we did, the Source. Was it the Source?
We did the Source.
The first time, okay.
And we just recently did the Quickening.
Right.
Drink till it's good to the Quickening.
Yeah, we did.
So that one I was a little over. But yeah, Ninja Turtles.
Yeah.
I like other movies. Obviously you can't argue that like he's made some really great movies, but I don't really think that any of those movies owe anything to him.
But you just said he made some really great movies.
No, he's in some really great movies. He had very good taste in picking his roles, or
his agent.
Or yeah, exactly. Or his agent was really good and got him in great movies.
Okay.
You know,
What about Goonies?
right? Goonies,
He's
Gremlins.
great. His mouth. Do you like him?
No,
as
I don't know. He's so annoying. I want to
so
punch him in
good.
the face.
That's mouth.
Yeah, he
And
learned-
Tommy
he
Jarvis,
learned
it's like,
Spanish.
I mean,
He was
I know
so-
nowadays
so
we root for the
committed.
bad guy a lot, but I feel like back in the 80s, you weren't supposed to root for Jason.
Oh, by part 4 you were. I think.
Well, I mean, putting
was.
him up against Corey, Corey Feldman, then yeah, you're going to get people are going to root for.
I always,
everybody
I
always
always
root
root for the good guy.
And I did.
I never root for the
But
bad guy.
No.
I liked.
It's a strong moral compass.
Tommy Jarvis got creative. Shaved his head, put on the sweater, tried to be little Jason. That's a smart ass little kid. Kids today wouldn't think of that.
No.
The kids today wouldn't. There's no TikTok video to tell me how to fight this
I like
guy.
Corey Feldman.
I do too. I like Corey Feldman. I liked Mouth when I was a little kid watching the Goonies. It's like,
Mouth is awesome.
I want to be the smart ass.
Yeah.
I ended up being the fat ass chunk, but I wanted to be the smart ass.
See, agua in sin comida. It's so good.
Can't figure out pen. Can't figure out sign pen.
He can't figure out pen.
But knows drugs.
Yeah.
And to
sexual torture devices. Yeah. No sign, no pen,
but
no
don't
pen.
sign.
Yeah, comida. Doesn't that mean eat?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Boo.
Eat the
All
drugs?
right, so you're going
See, I was-
Donatello.
Donatello.
Donatello should pick. That's a great pick.
TMNT. That's
Yeah,
the original.
excellent pick.
Guys,
Yeah.
it's not the best time for your buddies to be
Yeah,
dropping
structurally
it.
speaking.
Yeah,
Yeah.
structurally speaking.
Classic.
Classic.
All right, runners up.
Brian. No, Brian.
No, I know
Brian,
Yeah.
we started with Tito.
We
I'm
started
sorry.
with Tito.
Dude,
so
I
now-
did this last week too.
Yeah, you were
I'm
all over
off
the
my
place last
game.
week.
I
I
was
do it
all
too.
over the place.
That's all right. That's all right.
I blame the drugs.
Not enough. I'm going with, like you were just saying, he seems to be put into some very good films. And I agree with this one. This is Stand By Me, directed by Rob Reiner.
Excellent. Yep,
He is Teddy Duchamp. And the reason I picked this one is because this is the one where he really seems to be acting. In every other
great.
role,
Right.
he seems to just be playing himself. That's just Corey. He's got one speed, and it's just Corey. But he really acts his fucking ass off in this movie. Yeah. He really does. He pours his heart out, that poor little kid. You know,
He is
Oh, he's
good.
got that messed up ear.
he does.
Yeah, he goes off about his dad.
He goes off.
Yeah.
He has that whole story, and he's probably drawing a lot on his own real life experiences,
possible.
maybe. Because remember when we went to New York and I met Sean Astin,
Yep.
and he was doing the Funko Pops.
Yep.
And I made a mistake of saying, "Can you put this one's mine on my Funko Pop?"
Oh, that's right. And he said, yeah, that was my
He
line.
said
Sign a
that
Corey
was
Feldman
Feldman's
line on
line.
this?
Well, serious. And I'm like, oh, fuck. You know, I was getting starstruck. So, but he did anyway. But he said, I'll do it. He said, I got a story. He says, when we did that scene, he says, Corey acted his heart out in that one too. He says, and he was drawing all the stuff that was going on in his life at the time. And he said there was not a dry eye on the set after that scene was done, after Corey finished his spiel.
Yeah.
And he said, Sean Astin said, I even had my bodyguard on the set, and he said, big 300-pound guy. He says, and I look over at him and he's got tears rolling down his cheeks. You know, he says, that's just the way that Corey was,
Yeah.
Just,
I mean, there was a time,
Great
especially
scene.
when he was younger. I
Great
think he was
scene.
really trying to act.
Yeah.
I don't think he wasn't at a point where
Yeah.
it was just Corey yet.
no, and I think it's most apparent in Stand By Me.
Even something as like Gremlins. He's funny in Gremlins. Little
Yes.
kid in the tree
He's good in
costume.
Gremlins.
Yeah.
I agree.
His reaction to the Mogwais, isn't this awesome? He's looking at the Batman comics like, it's great. It's totally great. I'm serious, really. It's great. That's great delivery for a little kid.
Yeah.
Listen, you don't have to sell me. I'm all bought
Great
in.
delivery.
You bought solar panels
I'm
off
in.
him.
Dude, I bought his solar panels. I just gave him 67 cents outside. What do you mean? I'm all in.
That's high for solar panels.
You got 4 tickets to his next show.
Yeah,
tonight.
Tito wanted to go on tour with him.
Front row, VIP.
He'd let
He
you.
said I could play drums.
Yeah. Tito, I need a drummer.
It was once a Tito Puente that played drums. I'm going with you.
What's the problem? I'm in.
All people named Tito are great at drums. I learned
It's
that.
possible.
I thought Tito Puente played trumpet.
No,
maybe
he's
he
a
did.
drum percussionist.
He played
Oh,
bongos.
yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Drummer, percussions, the little cowbell.
What cowbell?
The cowbell.
Runners up.
I got a fever.
Yeah,
up.
everything that he's fucking in, man. Stand
Yeah,
by
that's
me,
pretty much.
The Goonies,
Well, and then it
All
hit a
that
wall.
shit.
Then it was like nothing.
Dream a Little
but
Dream.
absolute
I love
shit.
Dream a Little Dream. That's
Do you
funny
like
said
Dickie
Dream a Little
Roberts?
Say
Dream.
Dream a Little Dream.
No,
Child
I
star?
never
No,
liked all that.
no.
Dickie Robert.
Do you like
He's acting with Jason Robards. Come on, how do you not
Lost
like
Boys,
Dream
The
a Little-
Tribe?
I bought it. I didn't love it, but I bought it.
You're a completionist like me.
No one's mentioning Bordello of Blood.
Oh, Bordello of
Come
Blood.
on,
That's right.
guys.
It's a good one.
He plays a vampire.
A lot
That's
of
right. I remember
naked,
that. Naked.
Erica Eleniak is in that
Right.
one, and Angie Everhart.
Angie Everhart.
Angie
Right.
Everhart. What are you up to? You got any?
Yeah, I got The Lost Boys, I got Goonies, Donatello, and I'm going to throw in there 13 Fanboy is the Friday the 13th Final Girl tribute movie.
Oh, I never saw that.
It's pretty good. It's pretty fun.
13 Fanboys.
He's in it, but he's playing, I believe, a director. I got to see it again. It was a while.
Oh,
but
I
he's
think I
not
remember
playing
hearing
Tommy
about
Jarvis.
this.
I mentioned
Okay.
this either on Geek Flag or back when we did Monster Cereal,
Yes.
one or the other.
Yeah.
You got any runners up over there?
I don't.
None of them.
No, I mean, we already talked about all the ones that would have been my runners up.
Bordello
There's
of Blood
nothing
should
else.
be
And
on
actually,
there.
Bordello of Blood would be on my list.
I'd like to watch that again.
I like Bordello of Blood.
Maybe
There's
tonight.
a fun one.
We
It's
should
not
watch
as
that
good
tonight.
as Demon Knight, but
Not even close.
not
Watch
even.
Demon Knight.
But it's fun.
But it's got
Is it Dennis Miller?
yeah,
Right.
Miller
Yeah.
in that one.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with
Right.
Dennis Miller.
No,
And it's got,
you can.
what's
You
his
can.
name from Clockwork Orange? The
Malcolm McDowell?
Malcolm.
No, I would know Malcolm McDowell. The old guy, the guy who goes yes all the time. What's
Oh,
his-
him. Yeah, he was in a bunch of
Yeah.
Hammer movies too. Yeah.
got
Yeah,
any runners
so
up?
I have I had the Goonies, I have License to Drive
So
and
good.
Lost Boys.
You really can't go wrong with
No.
with
You
his
can't.
catalog. He's got
Yep.
he's got
I don't know. Look at the last 15, 20 years.
Yeah,
Because
but
he's got a very large catalog that I didn't realize.
I know a lot of people do that.
148
As I'm
credits.
scrolling through all the.
He's got just shy of 150
Yeah.
credits on IMDb.
Dude, guy, he doesn't have any other skills. He's got to make money somehow.
Fox
Dude,
and the Hound was he?
Yes, he was. He was
the
young
voice
Copper.
in Fox and the Hound.
He was
right?
young
Dude, he was
Copper.
in Time After Time.
Yes.
Speaking
yes,
of
he
Malcolm
was.
McDowell, he was the little
that's
boy at the
right.
museum.
Yep.
He had like one line.
This guy is a legend.
Yeah, he's there. He'll be back.
Dude, how do you know he's
He'll
the
be
voice
back.
of Copper and the
Yeah.
Fox and the Hound?
Yep, young
Because I
Copper.
knew the
'Cause you're a
Fox and the
fan.
Hound. 'Cause- No, I'm not a fan.
I'm a fan. I don't even know that.
I'm a fan when he does voices and he doesn't. I don't have to look at him. That's
All right,
he should do more voices.
We've heard this before with
Like,
Robert
he's
Pattinson.
one, but he's not in two. He's in
and
three.
Brie
Corey
Larson.
Feldman, come back
Copper.
home. No,
Yeah,
no, this was.
We're
come
gonna
back
see.
home.
Corey,
no,
Corey
we're
Feldman will not be one where I backpedal and start feeling differently.
No, we're gonna see Corey Feldman movies appear on your Voodoo
I know.
account.
After you get through Killian Murphy, you're gonna
Oh,
go.
you're on a
we were
huge
looking
Killian
through your
Murphy
we
kick.
I've
were
had a
looking through your
problem.
voodoo earlier.
I've had a problem.
That's what Tina's.
You've had a problem?
Huh?
You've had a problem?
I've had a problem. Yeah, I had a
problem.
I had a bad experience.
bad
You have a problem, my friend.
It's so easy to do. I get it. I'd be addicted to it too. If I wasn't already like.
I just gotta
collecting
watch it
comics.
all. Like,
Yes,
I've
you
been
do.
I've been getting a lot of movies that I haven't seen, and I want to. I got the. Did you see? I got the Bride.
Yes.
Yes.
The one we had talked
Yeah,
about.
I watched it. I watched it
Did
the
you?
other night. Yeah.
Oh,
Would have been better if
it
Corey
did.
Feldman was in it.
It didn't hold up as much as I remember it.
Yeah.
I liked it a lot better in my head
Oh.
from seeing it 30, 40 years ago.
That's what he was saying because I was thinking, I remember thinking that
Yeah.
movie was so awesome.
Yeah.
But I probably haven't seen it since I was like
Yeah.
9 years
Yeah.
old.
Sting cannot act his way out of a paper bag.
But I'm definitely gonna watch it.
Not
I
even in
love
Dune?
Jennifer Beals. I like Jennifer Beals.
Doesn't he act in Dune?
Yeah.
like three little.
He just kind of poses with a knife in a,
Well,
in a
that's all he
black
needs to
diaper.
do. When you're Sting, that's all you have to do. Save the
Just Sting being
rainforest.
Sting.
Yeah.
That was,
being Sting.
he got that costume from his closet. He just
Yeah, that was
that was a police tour.
That was stage wear from
Yeah.
the Synchronicity tour.
What the hell else has he acted in anyway? Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking
right. He
Barrels.
plays
Yeah.
the father in that.
Oh,
he's really
yeah.
good.
I remember
he's
he
good
was
in
good
that.
in that movie.
Yeah.
Wasn't he in Only Murders in the Building?
Yes,
He was.
plays
In
himself.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, that's not
in the
how he
first
in
season.
the first season. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, because then
that's
he
not
He
moves
was their
out.
neighbor.
Yeah.
What's her name moves in?
Oh, I gotta see this.
Yeah. Only
that
Murders
show.
in the Building is very funny. You
still
dig
haven't
it.
seen it.
You would really like
Did you
it.
see some of the cast? I forget who they are right now, but
Corey Feldman?
no, Corey Feldman's not in it.
It's an entire hotel of Corey Feldman.
Yeah. Is he the doorman? What does he play?
He's the doorman. He's the
He's
concierge.
a street performer outside.
He's
funny.
the solar panel salesman.
He's like, yeah.
He's running. He's doing the catering. Hey, Feldman's fried chicken. Turn down service.
If I could, I'd put him in my movie.
Oh man, I would too.
I'd put him in my movie.
Come
if
back,
I could.
Corey.
He's a comeback kid.
Come back.
Comeback kid.
Come back to voice acting.
All right, that was a lot of appetizers, man. We ordered too much. Now let's
I'm
get to the
sick.
main
full.
I'm gonna be sick.
sick of Corey.
No, no such thing. Better than Haim. Better than Haim.
No.
I'll say it.
No.
Better
than
actor?
Haim. Better than Haim.
100%.
Better than Haim.
You think Corey Haim is a better actor than Corey Feldman?
No, sir, Bob. No.
No, you're right. You're right. But I can stand looking at Corey Haim more than I can.
Corey Feldman in Silver Bullet would have just upped that movie. Even more so.
Oh, I do like Corey Haim.
Can you picture him and Gary Busey together?
How awesome. Hey! That's all it would be. Behind the scenes.
Behind the scenes. I want to see that on film.
Piss on the Yankees. Piss on the Indians.
Is this your cocaine or my cocaine?
And Corey Feldman's moonwalking while he's singing that.
Oh, boy. Look, he was good enough for Michael Jackson. He's good enough for him. And on that awkward ending,
Amen to that.
let's get to the main course.
The main course.
We brought dessert. Is your mother home?
Here you go, Sonny. A little something for the old sweet tooth.
As the old saying goes, love thy neighbor, but sometimes that's easier said than done, especially if your neighbor fits into that category of neighbor that seems to find its way into all neighborhoods across the globe, the neighbor that may seem nice on the outside, maybe a little eccentric or just a little off, or maybe just plain old odd-looking. Whatever the case, you know deep down, something just doesn't seem right. Well, these types of neighbors have found their way into the world of film and for years have staggered the imagination of moviegoers everywhere in answering that burning question, what's going on in their world? And even more importantly, what's going on inside that house? Maybe that lovable salesman really killed his wife. Maybe that sexy new neighbor is actually a vampire or an alien or a witch. Maybe that guy who wrestles with opening his slider door for an hour instead of just finally forking the money over for a new one. It's
I know
not a
that
raving
guy.
bald maniac covered in cheese dip. Oh, scratch that last one. That's right. Or maybe, just maybe, those neighbors are hiding something dark and sinister like the ones Tom Hanks spies on in Joe Dante's The Burbs. With a wonderful cast and a story filled with dark humor and scary slapstick, The Burbs has become a cult favorite amongst genre fans. While it underperformed when first released, thanks to a long stay on video and Tom Hanks' continuous rise to success, The Burbs has gone from forgotten to favorite amongst many, many movie buffs. So why not give this episode a listen? And if you like what we say about it and haven't seen it yet, well, don't listen because it'll have a spoiler or two. But if you haven't checked this movie out in a while, maybe revisit it. Have a watch party. Just don't forget to invite the neighbors. If you dare. Opening thoughts. This was a Tito pick, and this is a really good pick. Tito,
I
and
love
it
this
starts
movie.
with you. I love how this is lining up.
I love this freaking movie. It's one of mine and my wife's favorite movies ever. It's one of the few movies that we always are in the mood to see together, which is hard to do. We were talking about this earlier. Both wanting to be in the mood to see something. This is always something we can put on. It's also one of those movies for me that over the years, when I was a kid, I just liked it because I love big Tom Hanks guy, big Michael Keaton guy. So when they were having their kind of run of back and forth, like Mr. Mom, Gung Ho, Splash, all those movies, I was like loving all of that. So even as a kid where I didn't necessarily understand a lot of what was happening, I liked the movie. Over the years, as I've gotten older, the more I see it, the small things I see in the movie that I'm just like, oh, I didn't notice that last time. That's so funny. They just kept popping up and popping up. Where
Agreed.
Every time I watch it, the funny stuff is still funny, but then there's other things that I just like. I laugh differently every time I see it, and it really is one of my favorites. One of my favorites for sure. And it's not a scary movie, but it is. It walks this fine line of I don't know what it is, but they don't make movies like this anymore.
Yeah.
No, they don't.
They don't make these kind of movies. I wish they did, but they don't. So the nostalgia of it also holds a special place in my heart.
I think they do in Europe, Tito.
They might. They might. They let the kids drink too. Yeah. So it's borderline. It's like they're walking a fine line.
The kids
out
are
there.
the ones writing the movies.
Yeah, the kids are the ones writing the movies.
Let's not get back on Corey Feldman again.
Yeah.
Speaking of drinking kids.
Pizza party.
But yeah, one of my favorites.
Nice. I agree. I absolutely love this film. I've said it before. I am a big Joe Dante fan, and I'll get into that a little more as we go on. But I think this is one of his best films. I love the cast, and the reason I love the cast, Tito, you had brought this up before when you said we just don't have guys in movies anymore. We have movie stars, but we don't have just regular Joes. And I think this is a cast of regular Joes. These are people that look like they would exist in your neighborhood. They're not all pretty boys. They're not all movie star looking. They all have unique features.
Tom Hanks couldn't be famous today. No matter how
not
good
in
of an
that
actor
movie.
he was.
Yeah, they're
if
regular
that guy
people.
showed up today, he would not be
Absolutely.
famous.
And what's his name? Art? I mean,
Art?
somebody
Absolutely
playing
not.
Art? Like, but
Fucking Bruce Stern, not a chance.
Yeah.
As
But,
amazing as he is, he wouldn't.
But this is what I like about the film. It feels like you're watching real neighbors in a real suburban neighborhood, and this is exactly how suburbanites act. Now, it's a little, what's the word? Exaggerated from time to time, but overall, that's what the neighbors do. Somebody new walks in. There's, like I said, there's a strange house in every neighborhood. We had one, and all the neighbors would wonder what the hell was going on in there. And I like that premise. And again, I'll get into all this when we go over the categories. But overall, just my opening thoughts is each time I see this, I like this film more and more. When I first saw it, it was late in the game, and I thought it was good. But the more I watch it, the more I like it. And now it's, has become one of my favorite Joe Dante films.
So I got to be honest. Before the other day, when I watched this for the show, I had never seen this movie.
Oh, I wish I had been there.
I know. So I definitely had. I think I definitely had some misconceptions growing up about it. I think I definitely would confuse it with Money Pit. Because at first I thought that he was moving into the neighborhood at the beginning, and I'm like, wait a minute, he's already living there? Like, what? So I don't think I really realized what the movie was about back then. When I remember the cover of the movie.
I thought this was a straight up horror film when I was a kid. The way it was promoted,
and the picture, the sky's
cover,
black, and he's holding what's he holding in his hand?
A hose and a spatula, but like a glove, the rubber glove
and
on.
And he's in his PJs and robes.
Right. Yeah. But I liked it. It has some really funny bits, like you said. The cast is great. So many great character actors in this movie. I love that it takes place in one place, essentially. Like it's just the neighborhood.
It doesn't leave that end of the cul-de-sac.
It really, it almost feels like it could be a stage play.
That's what they say in the
for sure.
I really like that. Like I definitely got that vibe watching it, and I'm like, it reminded me of Noises Off, where there was it's like
a lot of farce.
It's a lot of farce. It's this great ensemble of character actors, and there's all this chaos happening in this like confined environment. So it really it made me think of that movie.
It moves. It doesn't
Dude,
stop.
Right. There's not really any slow parts.
parts.
It's all like you said. There's a lot of it that's relatable. Yeah. Overall, great flick. Glad I finally got around to seeing it.
Oh, I didn't know you hadn't seen it.
No, I didn't realize either.
No.
Yeah.
Wow,
There's a lot of like classic 80s movies that I feel like everybody's seen, and I'm like, oh, I don't think I've seen that. Like I remember the covers, I remember going to the video store, but like I never rented that stuff. I rented.
All right.
So
sorry,
Brian.
Yeah, no,
I almost did it too.
I'm going to keep it short. I actually saw this movie when it came out. I believe at the Rustic Drive-In.
Wow.
And I remember loving it as soon as I saw it.
That'd be a good drive-in movie.
It was a great drive-in movie. I love this movie from the time I saw it. Like you guys said, and like I said earlier, it's got a very stacked cast. Amazing actors. It's got a cool story. Like Tito said, it really does straddle that line between comedy and horror. And you guys know I love a good horror comedy, so... it's right in my wheelhouse, and I've seen this movie countless times ever since. And like you, even this past time, like I started watching it the other night, and I fell asleep because daylight savings time gets me fucked up every year this time. When we lose that hour, I'm all messed up. So I started watching it, fell asleep on it, and I finished it just before Mark and Tito came over. And I was picking up stuff the other night that I never noticed.
Every once in a while, I picked up something today that I had never noticed either.
Was it the kitchen scene?
No, it's when he's talking about rebuilding the house.
Yeah.
And he's like, I got a new set of tools. And he mumbles like Carol's dad bought me a new set of tools. And I was like, oh my God, I never noticed that. It's hilarious.
What was yours?
when Rick Dukeman's eating breakfast and he grabs stuff out of the dog bowl as it goes by.
He eats the dog food.
He
eats the dog food.
Same. I saw that.
And I noticed it. I never noticed that before. And then in the background, you can see Carrie Fisher putting the bowl down.
Yep.
And I'm like, holy shit, he's eating dog food.
Yeah.
I saw the same thing. I was like, whoa, I didn't notice that.
He's too busy stuffing his goddamn face.
Oh, that guy is a riot, man. He shows up in the weirdest, like literally the weirdest place.
We'll get there. We'll go.
He was hot for about 5 minutes.
But
back in the late 80s and early 90s.
I remember him having cameos. Like he's in the manhole cover in Die Hard.
Yeah.
Like, you know, with the FBI telling him to shut down the whole thing. It's like, I can't shut it down. Yeah, I can shut it down, whatever. That's him.
Yeah.
He's in The Last Boy Scout.
He's got a cameo in The Hunt for Red October.
Yeah, he's
in the helicopter as they're dropping Jack Ryan down onto the submarine. He's like, and he's telling him about like, oh yeah, one time I was in this plane and it was really choppy and we had this guy that couldn't stop puking. It was an industrial grade puke too, not your regular runny stuff.
Well, and in the early 80s, so he was a stand-up comedian.
He was.
And he was like really heavy set.
Yeah.
He had lost a ton of weight, and that was when he started acting. And
I like how they refer to him in this movie, like about 4 different times they call him the fat guy.
Yeah, he's not even that fat.
The fat one.
That's the fat one.
Yeah, man, Gremlins 2 he shows up in. Like,
he's the dad in Scary Movie.
I love him in Scary.
Cindy's dad, the one, the drug dealer, with Uncle Escobar.
Oh, yeah, Uncle Escobar. Now, there's money for you on the counter, but don't forget what...
There's always money in the banana stand.
Yeah. Don't forget what I taught you. Cut it with baking powder. No, baking powder, baking soda, not baking powder. Yeah, because you'll end up with muffin. Oh, you've loved that joke ever since I was 8 years old.
And he's passed on. Sadly,
he did.
Passed
he
away
did.
not too long. So R.I.P.
Yeah,
man.
like within the last 10 years or so. Hold on.
But that Last Boy Scout cameo is so freaking random.
He died in 2015.
Yeah,
he was only 62. Damn.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, they crash into his pool.
They crash into his pool, and Milo shoots him. And he's like in it for 2 seconds. He's like, yeah, these guys mean business. Oh, it's funny. Okay.
Favorite scene? My favorite scene is when they finally meet the Klopeks. I think that has some of the best lines in the movie. Mm-hmm. Bruce Dern is my favorite in that scene. Ruben is low-key super fucking hilarious.
He is.
So it's like Bruce Dern in the background, like peeling the wallpaper off the wall, and he fucking ruins their wall. And then Ray eats the sardine and the pretzel, starts sneezing. I still don't understand.
He was allergic to it, or he was just trying to get them to shut up about what they were talking. Then he just goes packing dust, and the way he grabs the newspaper and blows his nose with it. He just grabs it like off camera, like so fast.
Him trying to figure out the painting when Bruce Dern's like turning it and turning it and turning it. Everything that's happening in that scene I absolutely love. Mm-hmm. Again, you finally get to meet Ruben, you finally get to meet Hans, and everything about them is so fucking weird.
When they ring the door, Bruce Dern goes through the floorboard.
He's like, there go the goddamn
rowdies.
That's the second time, right?
Yes.
Because Art goes through
it the first time, yeah.
And then he picks him up and he gives him the Hans and says, he goes, Sonny, something for your
sweet tooth.
That makes me laugh so. I don't know why. It's stupid, but it just makes me...
Not stupid. It's hilarious.
There go the goddamn...
You know why? Because it's his face. Bruce Dern has a great face.
Oh, yeah. He absolutely
and he does. And the straighter he plays it, the funnier he is.
Yeah.
That's my favorite stretch of the movie.
I got the Nightmare Cult scene. I think is just awesome. Effects wise, it's just a great scene.
Yeah,
and
it reminds me of Pee Wee's.
Exactly, because
big adventure.
Art's dressed up like the doctor, smiling surgeon, which is very reminiscent of the smiling doctor.
Yep.
And then I also like the garbage man scene.
Oh, that's great.
Don't let them do to you what they did to me. Picks up Walter in the trash can.
I love how they get to the truck and. What's his name's already in there.
The garbage man scene.
The garbage man scene. No, when they're already in there and Hart pokes his head out, it's like, it's not in here.
Excuse me, Garbies. He calls him Garbies. Garbies.
And we'll get to that.
Garbies.
I'll get to that.
That's a great. And then you get like Picardo and Dick Miller.
Yeah.
They just get their own little 3 minutes to
Scene
like
together.
do
Right,
like a
yeah.
bit.
Yeah.
Just
And
to
it's
do a
enough.
bit. It's fucking
Right.
hysterical.
I could have watched a whole movie about them.
I could have.
Picking up
Hilarious.
garbage.
I
so
absolutely
funny.
could have. They're great. Is it Garbage or I always
call
call
them
him Garbage.
Garbies.
Garbies.
Garbies, like
I always
garbage.
thought
Hey,
he,
Garbies.
Oh man, that shatters this for me because Sarah and I both thought he was going Garbage.
I know, you always say that, garbage.
Garbage.
Like it's a French word.
Because it seems like something he would do.
Throw me out like some of your French trash.
Garbies.
All right, Garbies then.
Pick up
I
a
like
bag.
the Garbies
It's
scene.
a little bit moist.
Oh, wait till I have to break this to Sarah. She's gonna be so
Who's going to pick all this up? You are. You're the garbage man.
Robert Picardo and Dick Miller.
Great
They're talking about
Dick
when it
Miller.
leaves the curb, does it become private property? Is it public domain now?
He has a right to know. So good.
That's mine.
And was Robert Picardo and did he play some guy named the cowboy? In
Yeah.
a movie?
Yeah, Inner Space.
Inner Space. I
Joe
just
Dante.
just
That's
rewatched.
also Joe Dante.
Okay, that's what
Yeah.
I
Did a
thought.
lot of Joe Dante movies.
Because I
So-
watched that last night. And I was
Dr.
like,
Klopek is in that.
right. Klopek's in it.
Bruce Dern's wife is in that.
Mm-hmm.
She plays the girl that works in the store that he
Right.
works at. Dick Miller is in
Dick
that.
Miller's
Yeah,
in
Dick
it.
Miller's in all of his
Yeah,
stuff.
there's like 5 or 6 people in it that were in Burbs.
There's only one movie I think Dick Miller didn't do, and that was Looney Tunes back in action.
Oh, yeah?
For Joe Dante. Everything else he's been in.
Too cool. Too
kidding.
cool for Warner Brothers.
I don't think he cared. I don't think Joe Dante doesn't talk about that movie that much either.
Picardo's mostly known for the Doctor on Voyager.
Right.
Holographic Doctor.
Right, I recognized
Yeah,
him from
Star
it,
Trek.
yeah.
But he's
Meg
also,
Mucklebones.
He's in
he's
Meg
also-
Mucklebones. Thank you, Tito.
And he's Eddie Quist in The Howling, the slasher.
Yeah.
That
and he
he's
has a look too about him that like he
Mm.
looks. There's another actor that's very similar looking to him.
You think so?
Yes, and I can't put my finger on who it is.
I kind of
You probably wouldn't like it anyway.
Why?
If you put your finger on him.
Oh, I get it.
He didn't.
People are touchy about that kind of thing.
Woo! What's your favorite scene there?
I got Art inviting himself for breakfast at Ray's. That whole scene.
Yeah.
You guys, we already talked about it again. But like, yeah, taking the bite of the food and making the face. Which at first I thought I didn't realize it was dog food. I at first thought he just took something off of Ray's plate and then he was like making the face about Carol's cooking.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, so did I for many years.
Me too.
For many years.
And then it was just the other night I saw her putting the bowl down on the floor and the dog all excited. I'm like, holy shit, he just ate the dog food
That's
as it
what
went
I'm
by.
saying. The next time you watch, you're gonna be like, oh,
Right.
that's
I'll-
fucking
yeah,
hysterical.
I'll notice
How did I
little
miss
things.
that thing?
Yeah.
And I liked the scene shortly after when Hans is on the porch and the whole neighborhood's just staring at him, and then Art eggs Ray on to go say something, and then they end up
your
stung by
windows
bees, and like
That part's awesome too. I forgot about that.
and Bruce Dern's like spraying them down with the hose.
Come to me! Come to me! I got water!
But the cord
just-
stops him and he fucking flips and hits his back. Yeah, that's just fucking so good.
Yeah, so I got the same thing as Tito. I said when the neighbors decided to go over and meet the Klopeks face to face for the first time instead of snooping around, you said everything. It's perfect. The Bruce Dern fucking with everything in the house, ripping the wallpaper off, fucking with the painting.
Dude, and he just doesn't give a shit.
Yeah, yeah.
He's like giving it all away. Tell him about the digging in the back and the bodies and tell him, Ray, tell him.
So
and he's like,
Klopek, what is that? Slavic?
No.
He yells it. No.
About a 9 on the tension scale, Rube.
I love
fucking
that.
awesome.
Love that line.
Fucking awesome.
Whoa, about a 9 on the tension
Dude,
scale.
Yeah, I got like 12.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
I
know.
narrowed mine down to like 4 because
Yeah,
they
I
were
did
all
too.
so
I had to
good.
whittle them down.
I'll try not to ruin it.
Nah, you just
too many
fire
things. I
those
have
off
so
real
many.
quick, man. That's fine.
What doesn't work for me?
What does or doesn't? Oh,
Doesn't.
doesn't.
Yeah,
Okay.
so what doesn't work for me? Art is very funny, but I hate him.
Yeah,
I hate Art so much.
yeah, he's a
'Cause
dick.
all he's
But I
doing
think are you
is
supposed to though? Because he's like one of those guys. Those types
yeah,
of
for
Yeah,
sure.
totally.
He's
Like-
very effective. He is so effective at making me hate him because everything he does, I'm just like, he's really funny.
Yeah,
but he's
an
really
asshole.
pissing me off. I
I wouldn't
feel
want him for a
Ray.
neighbor.
No,
I
yeah,
would
yeah,
not
yeah,
want him for a
absolutely
neighbor.
And this is a small thing, but
He comes over here to smoke cigars. His wife doesn't know. Hey, Ray, how you doing, buddy?
Hey, but I don't.
on my lawn.
I don't think, and this might be an unpopular opinion, but I don't think the movie would be as good or as funny, at least without him.
Yeah, no, I agree.
I
He
agree.
would definitely.
Absolutely.
Right.
That
I
movie would
agree.
not be as
Nope,
good.
you're absolutely
It would
right.
be good. So
He's very funny. He's
Yes.
not my favorite character in the movie.
no,
He has
but
really funny parts, and he's just
He
really
does get on your
effective
Like you
at
said, effective.
being
Yeah.
the fucking worst.
Right.
This is a small thing, but it just drives me crazy. At the end of the movie, when the black cop comes, he keeps referring to them as the Klopeks.
Oh, yeah.
And I fucking hate it. And I argue with myself every time. Does he actually know how to pronounce their name, or have they
they
been pronouncing it wrong this entire movie? And it really is Klopek, because
And
the cop at the end keeps saying Dr. Klopek. Yes, he's a very important doctor. You're lucky he doesn't want to have you arrested. But they never respond when he asks.
I always assumed he
Klopek.
just got it wrong.
I always assumed he got it wrong.
But
too.
then again,
every once in a while,
yeah.
I'm like, oh, maybe he's the only one who knows how to
Wouldn't the
pronounce the last
police-
name.
Or the actor just didn't know, and then
Yeah.
Dante was just like, "Yeah, leave it
Go
in,
with
it's funny."
whatever.
Dude, it drives me nuts.
Someday there's gonna be some guys debating whether or not this guy knew. What
If
he
it's
was
on
talking
purpose, genius.
Yeah.
If it's not, it fucking drives me crazy.
No, I can see that. It's like when Marlon Brando says Krypton instead of Krypton.
yeah, Krypton.
Yeah.
Or that
Yeah.
idiot says garbage instead of garbage. You know,
yeah.
There's nothing worse than a moron that mispronounces a word.
Garbage. Garbage.
Garbage.
I like garbage. Garbage is funny
Garbage,
too.
we
though.
have the trash.
That's why we were laughing. That was like one of our favorite parts. Oh, I'm so distraught. The illusion has been
the
shattered. No,
garbage.
garbage is
Mark
also
does not
funny.
want to review the rest of this movie.
Garbage. It's done. You finish. I'm leaving.
That's it though.
I'm going to review the movie we watched after our movie last week. The Blurry Finger, Attack of the Blurry Finger.
Talk about garbage.
Yeah.
I don't know, I kind of
Shout out
liked it.
Josh Dollar.
I did too.
Yeah,
I kind of liked
I
it.
did
I did too.
Yeah, it was fun watching that with him.
Don't say it out
Not
loud.
while we're recording. Not while we're recording.
Oh, sorry.
We could talk about that.
Okay.
If we may or may not have liked it. A
Oh,
little.
all right. Yeah. What are you talking about? I don't even know. It's not garbage. Let's.
That's it for me. I fucking love this movie. There are very few things about it, if
Yeah.
anything,
Okay.
that I dislike.
I'll tell you what doesn't work for me is Carrie Fisher's hairdo.
It didn't work for her either.
She looks like she should be a hot wife in this, a hot suburban housewife, and she's almost there. You get to that Dutch boy haircut of hers,
Yeah.
kills
Agreed.
it. Kills it. This
Agreed.
is Princess Leia.
Yeah.
It was a
And she
big
looks-
thing in the 80s, though.
Yeah.
She
but it
looks
doesn't
really
work.
good in that little
know?
flowered dress
Yeah.
that she was wearing too. and-
No, but then you get to the hair
And
and,
then
you
you get
think
to the
it's
short
like,
hair.
oh, what's David
choice.
Spade doing in the
It
movie?
was a
You know? Well, you know what?
was
It's
a
a horrible
choice.
choice, and it does not work for me.
I forgive it. I kind
It
of like it.
distracts me.
I kind of like it.
Yeah, that says a lot about you, Tito.
It feels
You know,
suburban.
Well, yeah, but
No.
not good suburban.
No. You can have a better hairdo and still be suburban.
She could.
She could have worn a
has.
suburban turban.
You could have worn anything. You could have worn a turban and it would have been better.
Yeah, I know.
cover that hair up.
That hairdo has to go.
It's tough. It is tough. It's a tough one.
Yeah, I
for
can't.
sure.
I can't take her serious. I just want to put a wig on her.
Something else.
Yeah, come on,
Eileen.
come on, Eileen. Come on, Carrie. Get better than this. What is this?
It was a
What
different
is
time. It was the
this?
80s.
It was.
Huh?
It was the 80s.
That other
That
girl
was-
had long hair.
She's a
She was in the
crazy dude.
80s. All the other girls.
But she
in
was
that
blonde. You didn't really see too many short-haired blonde women.
That's a different kind
Back
of.
then, it
she
was- yeah.
movie. Sir, back in the day, Diane Keaton rocked long hair very well, and Carrie Fisher could have rocked it 100% better. Yeah, that's right.
All right.
Mic down.
If you say so.
I'm okay
I do
with
say
it.
though.
All right.
It's not mic drop.
Yeah,
No,
Mike
mic
down.
I can't drop this mic, so I patted it down. You can't drop this mic, Tito. That just doesn't make any
That's
sense.
true. That would mess everything
Neither does
up.
short hair on Carrie Fisher.
Yeah, it's tough.
She wore short hair better. We've seen it. We've seen it in
what?
other movies. I don't know. Drop Dead Fred
Drop
when
Dead
Harry
Fred,
met
Harry
Sally.
met Sally.
That's
Yeah,
true.
she
Yeah.
does wear it better. It's a little
Hey.
messier in those movies.
Well, this was a wig. She wore a wig, but her hair, like, no one could tell the difference.
Right.
Because
So
the
why?
hair,
why I
like,
read
I
that
don't,
too. I'm like,
She's
why wear
wearing
the
a
wig
wig?
then?
Yeah.
I didn't
Yeah.
know that.
I
it's a
don't
wig.
get why. Because
Interesting.
Maybe her hair was even shorter in real
Maybe.
life. I don't know. So they're like, at least put this on.
Well, a couple of notches off that performance then. Sorry.
She could still
sorry,
act.
Joe
Carrie.
Dante, what were you thinking?
Yeah,
Give her a
Joe.
longer wig.
All right. I'm done. My
What doesn't
rant's
work
over.
for me? The neighbors. I mean, I understand that's supposed to be, and that's the whole point. But the neighbors are really ballsy. for the late 80s, early 90s, like almost full blown now, like nowadays lack of common decency that people have now. Like they're just openly staring, they're digging through the trash in broad daylight, which that I didn't like that. Like, why would you wait until it's, because he literally says, well, let's just wait until it's
I know,
first
that was
light.
Stupid.
Like, well, okay, so then they'll see you.
At nighttime.
But they can't see in the dark.
I mean, well, and
Flashlights
if you
have been
thought,
invented.
and on top of it, if you thought,
but the flashlights will be noticed.
if you
the
thought
rain
the
delay.
family next door, like to you, were a bunch of killers, then I don't think you'd put yourself in the situation that they end up putting themselves in.
I totally
where they
would.
just
I would
barge in.
Yeah. You weren't. Where were you in the 80s? How young were you in the 80s?
In '89, I was
9.
no, I was
Eight.
eight.
Yeah.
Eight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me see. I was about like 12, something like that.
Yeah.
11 or 12. I totally be looking to if somebody
Yeah.
told me there was a killer.
No, and
we didn't have a lot to do.
I know.
in the
I
80s.
understand.
I
Looking through
was
the
22.
I understand all that.
Brian would have done that.
People have always been nosy, but I feel like back then, I feel like people would have, they kept it a secret more. They kept it to themselves.
No,
And
DNA
they wouldn't
wasn't
be
a
like,
thing.
I feel like it all kind of depends on where you're from. I definitely grew up with the like, mind your fucking business.
right.
My
Right.
mom was always like, mind your business. You don't need to know. Mind
So
your
like,
business.
that, like, even though it's one of my favorite scenes,
What are they doing next door? None of your
when
business.
the kid's on the porch and it's like literally just everybody freezes and stares and he's seeing them all
Oh,
stare.
that totally
Yeah.
happens.
And I know, but it's like
That happens,
so
sir.
fucking rude.
Doesn't matter. People are assholes.
bothered me. I
That's
don't know.
never changed.
And then I didn't like the end result. It really didn't work for me. The bones in the trunk, like
Oh, I love that.
but I wanted something way more sinister.
Yeah.
I feel like if you're going to have it be that the neighbors were guilty, because the thing is it was kind of playing it off like, all right, maybe they're not, and I loved that, like the speech that Ray gives about, it's us,
Yeah.
like it's not
We're the
them, it's-
monsters.
right,
Yeah.
And so like you could either go that way.
So what do you want me to move?
Or like, but the if you're gonna have them be actual bad guys and actual murderers, then I don't know. I kind of wanted more of a real horror show in the basement.
If I remember correctly, there were a bunch of different endings
Right.
conceived for it, and they had to go with the most conservative and safe one.
Which is unfortunate.
That was
'cause,
the
like,
producer stepping in again,
Yeah.
because
because it's like then you get informed, like we get informed that they are killers and that what happened to the previous owners and all that stuff. Like that's all through dialogue. Like you don't get to see anything. They don't find anybody's.
I could see that.
Remains.
Yeah, it's like tacked on at the end.
Yeah,
maybe because it was, or it feels like it was.
Maybe.
anyway.
I mean, it keeps in line with that kind of, I guess,
Right.
if you're thinking Tom Hanks in your movie and the kind of movies he's doing,
Right.
it fits. That end is not so crazy that, I don't know, it could have, who knows what it could have
Well,
changed
it's more
in
of
film.
Twilight Zone.
I think
like,
when
Yeah,
when
for
we
sure.
when we get to the category about recommendations, like if you liked this, there's a couple other movies that I put on that list that I feel like they do this particular kind of situation better.
Okay.
And give me a little bit more of what I like. I think that's why. I think I'm kind of comparing it to those, but overall, there really wasn't much wrong with this movie at all. It's really enjoyable.
Yeah, I've got as funny and chaotic as the scene that we were talking about, the breakfast scene where Art shows up for breakfast. It just bothers me. What doesn't work for me is just watching Rick Dukeman eat and talk at the same time. he does
like a
not
rib
stop.
At one point, he takes
Dude,
a pineapple
he
that
takes
has a
a
big
pineapple.
cut out of the fridge
But
and
just-
puts it on the table.
Just before that, he's talking and he's like shoving like entire sausage links in his mouth like a goddamn chipmunk.
Right.
He's still talking to Ray. And I'm like, oh my god, this guy doesn't stop, and it just kind of like turns my stomach to watch him do it.
Right, the irony of how like disgusted he is when Ray brings up his wife.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm
Yeah.
trying to eat.
I'm
here.
trying to
Do
eat
you
here.
mind?
And then, like, that's one of the things too that I didn't pick up until this time is his wife comes home and he yells at like, and I never knew that. He
My
gets
wife's
all,
home.
he gets all freaked
Yeah.
out because his wife finally shows up at the end, and I never heard that because it's just like an offline in the middle of all this chaos.
Art, your wife's back.
Never heard that before, but
Oh,
yeah,
and you never see her.
that doesn't work for me.
No,
you
she's
see her?
dressed in, she's wearing like a pink suit jacket with pink
you
skirt
just-
and maybe like a hat or something, just very briefly.
Yeah.
Huh.
Like, Art, what? Your house is on fire and your wife's home.
My wife's home. He doesn't care about the fire.
He's very unhappy. He's forcing that food down. He's very unhappy.
But yeah, that doesn't work for me.
That's understandable.
People get unhappy. Brian.
Does anything work for me? All right, so you don't like her hair?
If you say the hair,
It's not the hair, but I love Carrie Fisher in this movie.
I
think
love
she's
Carrie
fantastic.
Fisher too. Should have had a better hairdo.
I
She's
honestly,
awesome.
the hair doesn't kill me. I still think she looks phenomenal, and she's not like.
She looks like she's 40.
I think that's
But
the
she's
idea.
supposed to.
No, she should be. She's
That's why
meant
Tom
to
Hanks
be
didn't want to do
younger.
the like he didn't want the kid.
Yeah, he wanted the kid written out of the movie because he
Because
didn't want to play it.
at the time he was doing like Bachelor Party and he
Right,
had just
but
done Big.
I
and-
think they were meant to be
Flash.
younger than
Right.
they're supposed to look, and she looks older than him. She looks like
Well,
her.
I always
she
assumed-
looks like Tom Hanks's mom or older sister in this movie.
Yeah, I always assumed the blonde wife was supposed to be younger than her, and I think if she looks too good, then they
Right.
look like they're the same age, and it's like, well, damn, Tom Hanks got the fucking hot
Right.
wife. You know, where
Plus, I don't
where,
think-
where Bruce Dern's wife, I think, is supposed
Yeah.
to be like
So
the
you
smoke show.
Yeah.
you're thinking the hair is to dial back
little
a
bit.
better way.
and I think the
Yeah.
problem is
no, put her
All
in a pantsuit.
and I think the problem is that Tom Hanks didn't have a wig because his hair makes him look younger. Like he's not looking the age that he's not looking age appropriate in this movie because he just looks like he does in all these other movies that you've seen him in.
He
Valid.
actually
If he had
looked
had, like,
younger
a-
to me than her. Like they seem a little
Right.
off to
He
me.
looks.
Right.
He looks.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he looks
he
much
But that's what I
younger
mean.
than
I
her.
think if they had if his look was a little bit more like clean cut, then maybe he would have looked more mature and like an actual like a guy I could see owning a house and having a lawn that he has to mow. And,
Oh yeah, because even his style is very just like young 20,
Right.
30 something
Right.
guy as opposed
I mean,
to like
so honestly, I've seen her look better and still not be
Yeah.
the most attractive person. Hannah and Her Sisters is only one of many examples. She's in that movie, and she's, in competition with Diane Wiest for a date. And you see her, and like she's not the most gorgeous person in the room, but she still has that girl next door, lady next door quality.
Right.
But I believe, I think that probably did come out before though.
What?
Hannah and Her Sisters. That probably came out before the Burbs.
By a few years, yeah.
Yeah, so she is younger in that, but still, like look-wise, she looks great.
Yeah, I
but
think
the
she
hair
looks-
just
yeah.
makes her look too old.
I agree.
for Tom Hanks. Like maybe that's the problem.
I
I've
think
harped
she
on
looks
this too long. I'm
fantastic.
done.
No, it's fine.
Yeah.
I think she looks fantastic, but also I think she does a really good job, or they have created this character who's not like the annoying wet blanket wife.
Right,
She's
that's
pretty
true.
reasonable.
Right.
And then at the end, like when they're smiling at each other, it's like, oh, you got your hair cut. And she smiles at him, and you're like, yeah, she's not completely just ruining everything, because
Yeah.
that character could very easily be like the
Yeah.
fucking
Look
annoying
what you
wife.
Just for the
did.
sake of ruining his good time.
Right. Yeah,
No,
right.
you're coming up to the lake with me, mister.
Yeah, right.
She understands men need their alone time.
The garbage, I don't know if you noticed this, Derek.
Garbage.
The garbage that they dump
Right.
stays there for the rest of the
It
movie.
does. And
It's
everybody
there
drives
for the
over
entirety of the movie.
Oh, in the street?
it. Yeah.
Yes.
I didn't
It
notice.
never
Yeah.
gets picked up.
Yeah, it never does.
I absolutely love it.
It's like
It gets driven over.
when they bring
Yeah.
Walter back home from the hospital.
Yeah.
Like you see the station wagon drive over the garbage to get into the.
Garbage never leaves the
It
street.
never does.
Because the garbage men don't want to pick it up, and neither does
it
anybody
took,
else
it
in the
took me a
neighborhood.
couple of watches to notice that too. It was like one of these little details.
Oh, that's
Just-
awesome.
One of my
just
favorite
so
things.
funny.
So this movie, maybe one of the reasons it didn't do that great with a lot of this humor we're talking about. I feel like it's ahead of its time.
Right.
No, it
Yeah,
didn't
people
do
aren't-
that
people aren't
great
ready for it.
critically,
Right.
but it was
But
still popular.
it
It,
was
still
still
made
yeah, it
money.
made good money.
Yeah.
I thought it bombed.
No.
Okay.
So did
It
I.
had
I
an
always thought it
$18
bombed,
million
too.
budget, but it made almost $50 million at the box
Oh,
office, which
okay.
For
for
the time,
88
that's pretty
Right.
good.
wasn't
Right.
Yeah,
bad.
it's pretty good.
It was just
good.
panned by the critics.
Okay.
Right.
But
Yeah,
that's why critics
The
suck.
critics hated
They
it, but
do.
it was loved by the public.
But I am going to say, though, because I've heard Joe Dante say it underperformed, at least
did.
for
Well,
him.
they-
It went under the radar.
Yeah.
And probably because it's ahead of its time in the comedy. Those kind of subtle things we pick up on now, the garbage never lead. That's like stuff you would see in like an Edgar Wright comedy.
Right.
Where
Yeah.
you watch it again and again. And
Or
you
Police
notice all the
Squad
little
or
things.
something like that, like a
Well,
Zucker
Police
movie.
Squad, yeah, but I
They
mean,
would do
their
something like
slapstick
that.
is more in your face.
Right.
Like, there's a lot of subtle
It's very sophisticated. It's just
moments in this
things like that,
comedy.
yeah.
And it's not all just complete buffoonery. It's there's a class to it, which I just think at that time comedies were different.
Right.
You know, and I think if this were something
Elevated
that came
humor.
out now, elevated
for
humor.
sure.
Yeah, the A24 of humor.
The other thing I really, really like, I don't know if you noticed this either, Ricky is painting his house.
Yeah.
And he's painting it the craziest fucking colors you've ever seen. Like some of it's red, some of it's like periwinkle blue. Yeah. He's just painting it.
And it always bothers me when he's carrying an open can of paint. He fills it all over the speaker.
He's just painting it whatever color he feels like.
He doesn't care.
And movie credits, the Predator movie credits. I love movie credits like that. They don't do them anymore.
Oh, when they show the
actor in like a quick scene, or maybe like a scene that wasn't in the movie.
I love when they do that.
With who they are.
Predator does it. Kelly's Heroes does it.
I love those. They don't do it enough.
They need to bring that back.
I agree. No. Those are mine.
Marky?
Which ones was Marky?
What does work for you?
Oh, what works for me? Well, so I like Tom Hanks. I'm not crazy about the stuff he does now. Yeah. You know, but back in the day.
He's getting older.
He was awesome.
Yeah.
He was funny.
Yep.
And I think he works for this movie. I don't think he makes this movie, but he's a big part of why this movie is. His performance in it is very good. And because he's not superstar Tom Hanks, he's average Joe Tom Hanks, and he really works in this film as a lead.
Because he can give you, great lead. He gives you straight actor, but he can also give you like a little bit of slapstick.
Yep.
Right. And it's funny and it's not like stupid.
Yeah.
Well, and back then too, he
he
didn't take himself too seriously.
Right.
Exactly.
You know,
he had more fun.
Actor having fun. Exactly.
You know? Like the Money Pit, Joe versus the Volcano.
Right.
I mean, these, even Big. Like these movies are just really. That's the Tom Hanks I like. You know, some serious stuff he did all right in, but I was never a fan of his serious stuff as much. I don't know why, but the supporting cast works and the story works. This is a classic story. I love stories about what's going on inside the neighbor's house, man. What's happening in the house down the street? What's wrong with the small town? This covers all of that, and it's a story that's been done many times in many different genres, and I'll never get tired of it.
Nice.
Derek?
I mean, the comedy in general is it's awesome. And the characters, we were saying it before, there's such a great cut out of all of American suburbia, like all the different characters, like the wives, basically 3 different wives, even though you'd never see Art's wife. Yeah. Like Art's wife is clearly like a ball buster and like one of those just wives that everybody hates or complains about.
She has to be gone, otherwise this movie is probably the shit.
Right. Yeah. Right.
Like there's right. It's awful. It's ruined. She's ruined it all.
You've got like the blonde who's more like
the bombshell.
Just like kind of like she reminded me of Missy from Bill and Ted.
Oh yeah.
Like she's clearly way younger. Yeah. She's just she doesn't care. She's sunning. She's not.
Remember
doesn't
when
care.
She was a senior? We were freshmen. Shut up, Ted.
Like she's just immature. Like not like really
Mrs. Rumsfeld,
worrying about things.
No tan lines.
Right. And she like is glad that he flirted.
That kid Ricky's a meatball.
Yeah.
I love that quote.
I love all the suburb stuff. Like in the beginning, like the whole scene with Ray and Carol in the kitchen, getting ready for breakfast and stuff, and just like all the conversations that he has with her, with the neighbors right afterwards. There's like that whole...
You got up early to watch a dog shit on the neighbor's lawn.
Right. And then when they go out and he's talking to the neighbors about like the other people, and they start commenting with each other about the new neighbors, and he mentions how I forget the name of the ones that moved out.
Oh, the Naps.
The Naps. Like they didn't. He was kind of like turned off that they didn't say goodbye or anything. Like all that stuff is like so real, and that's exactly how neighborhoods are, and I just love that. I think that they did a really good job, like playing along with Jeopardy. It's all just extremely relatable.
Yeah,
I think it really.
It's a shame we never got to know the Naps. How nice for the Naps!
How nice! I was out there all day. That might be what. That might be. Yeah, I didn't see a moving van. Oh, out there all day. What works for you? Does anything work for you?
For me, I put down watching Ray's grip on reality slowly slip away as he's convinced more and more by Art and Mark that the Klopeks are up to no good. And then and these are neighbors that probably should not be getting along with each other, but it's so fun to see Ray, Art, and Mark bonding over this paranoia.
Totally.
Because it's all they've got. Like they only have each other, so they have to, and it's like
their lawns.
You find that that's what neighbors do. They find the common ground, and they kind of just like
one of the funniest scenes is after Tom has his nightmare. Ray has his nightmare. He's up there drinking his coffee, and they come up he's up on the deck, and they come. Can Ray come out?
Yeah.
And then she says, "No, Ray is not going out to play with you until he learns to be the human he used to be."
Yeah. We don't have that kind of time.
But then it's just like the two of them, like two little kids.
Yeah, they walk away.
He kind of does a little shuffle, like he kicks the dirt.
They're like, "Oh man, shucks."
It's so subtle, but I love it. I absolutely love it.
That's very good. Best quotes. I'll do like two.
We can come back around if you
Yeah,
want.
that's a great idea. This became my favorite quote a few years ago. It's when Hans drives the trash down to the can when they're watching him, and Ray says, I've never seen that. I've never seen anyone drive the garbage to the end of the street and bang the hell out of it with a stick. Something about that line I find incredibly hilarious.
And that's another line I use all the time.
Yeah, and it was
I've
until
never seen that before.
Many years later where I was like, what a fucking hilarious line. He has a few that are just
well, it's the delivery too.
Yeah.
It's the delivery. And the other one, which is kind of goes into his monologue, they live next door to people who break into their house and burn it down while they're gone for the day. The way he delivers it and in that scene, I think is fucking hysterical. Let me do
as many as you want, man.
I'm going to go one more, Ray. I've been blown up. Take me to the hospital. I'm sick. And he picks up the fucking gurney and throws it into the ambulance and jumps on top of it. I've been blown up. Take me to the hospital.
I'm sick.
Hilarious.
I hate cul-de-sacs. There's only one way out, and the people are kind of weird.
Yeah, and then he bumps into the blonde chick.
Dick Miller's the garbage man.
And they're walking around naked.
The truth to that quote, because
they're walking around naked.
We lived on a street that had a cul-de-sac at the end, and all the houses that we didn't play near were down at the circle or the cul-de-sac, and they were all... And there is no way out. There's only one way out. You got to turn around. You got to face all those houses.
That's another one of those things that I say. We used to have when we worked at RHD, Jess lived at a cul-de-sac. Every time I brought her home, I would say, I hate cul-de-sacs. She'd be like, what? And I'd be like, that doesn't matter.
It's from the Burbs.
thing. Yeah,
it's from a movie.
It's the thing I like to do.
And she said, Danny DeRosa. Nobody knocks off an old man in my neighborhood and gets away with it. I don't know why I found it funny, but when I saw it, I laughed. And it just struck me as, that's a funny line.
It's a hero moment. Yeah, the way it's filmed from like underneath. He's filmed from underneath, and he's got this like real like heroic delivery.
It's all in the delivery.
Fucking hilarious.
Now they know that we know that they know that we know.
The note.
And the last one, that kid next door is a meatball.
It's just funny. Famous Rumsfeld. No Ted lines.
That kid next door.
Meatball.
I love how every time you see Bruce Dern too, they play a little snippet of the Patton.
I'm pretty sure, like during the climactic scene when everything's going haywire, they play some of that music in Gremlins 2 at one point.
It was all Jerry Goldsmith.
The music
right?
from the ambulance is Jerry Goldsmith.
Jerry Goldsmith.
It's Jerry Goldsmith for both, and I think he reused
it.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, definitely.
So I'm not crazy.
Yeah, and he also did the music for Patton, which is why they
Oh, okay.
That's why they use it for art.
Awesome.
For Mark.
Yep. Yeah, I love that.
I mean, all mine have been said, but the Klopek, what is that, Slavic? No. About a 9 on the tension scale, Rube.
Yeah, I love that. I love it.
Ray's freak out on art. The whole thing, the whole freak out. You know, we're the ones vaulting over fences, peeking in windows. We're the ones throwing garbage in the street and lighting fires. We're the lunatics. Us. It's not them. It's us. And then, you want me to move?
What do you want me to move? What do you want me to move?
And Carol, he can't come out until he resembles the man I married. And Carol, we don't have that kind of time.
We don't have that kind of time. They do a really great job of, you don't know until you know.
Right.
Like you're on the fence.
You're still
maybe
guessing
they're
the whole
not.
time.
Yeah.
Maybe even right up until you see the skulls.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, okay, it wasn't them. They didn't do anything. Yeah, you guys are insane.
Yep. Well, is it the skulls first, or does he go in the ambulance first? And because he confesses
at the same time.
Right.
It's at the same time.
Like he just tells, he just confesses, and that's one of the things I didn't like. I wanted to see more
of the ambiguity and then the discovery. Yeah,
right.
But then none of the other people believe him. It's like no one's going to believe you, and it's like fuck, no one is going to believe him.
Brian, did you have any quotes that we have?
Of course I do. One of them is written on my T-shirt. Satan is good. Satan is our pal. From when he starts chanting.
Ray, you're chanting.
That's how it starts, Ray. And he's over there going, I'm not listening. I will not believe this. I'm not listening. I will not believe this. Ray, you're chanting. That's how it starts. Next thing you know, you're going to be going, Satan is good. Satan is our pal. Satan is good. And, of course, my favorite, that Tito already mentioned, I've never seen that. Never seen anybody drive their garbage down to the end of the street and bang the hell out of it with a stick.
Never seen someone do that.
And we mentioned this one before too. There go the goddamn brownies.
There goes the goddamn
And then he picks them up, and after he picks them up, he gives them the haunch, and there's all crap in them.
Shit on top. There's like
wood shaving, or
lead
leaves.
paint.
Yeah.
There's fucking lead paint all over it. Yeah, dude, so funny.
Here you go, son.
Something for your sweet tooth.
I can't say it with a straight face. I don't know how he did, but his delivery is awesome, and it makes me laugh every time. Something for your sweet tooth.
There he goes right now.
Even that scene is just filmed really well.
Right.
When he drives the fucking trash down to the other street, and it's just like lightning is going off, and he's
And
just
they've got
like it's a body.
The acid green spotlight in the driveway where the car comes out.
Oh, when it comes out of the driveway, with smoke and shit.
Oh, it's great.
Dude,
it's
so
perfectly
good.
filmed. All right, Tito, go ahead. You
I only
got
had
more.
a couple more. What have you got in the cellar here, Klopek? Oh, and when he shows the picture, that's a pretty girl. Came with the frame. What a fun
frame.
It's Hans. What a fine Christian name, Hans Christian Andersen.
What are you, Catholic?
What are you, Catholic?
What are you, Catholic? It's just the way he says it. He emphasizes the hard C's. What are you, Catholic?
And then Brian said this one earlier too. You keep a horse in the basement?
Yeah, when the Great
dog
Dane
comes running
leaps
out?
out. What do you keep a horse in the basement?
Another neighbor? Yes, the fat one. But that's it. Ray and Rumsfeld have my favorite fucking.
And then the one we were laughing at when the movie was wrapping up. Hey, Pinocchio, where are you going?
Where are you going? It came with the fame.
Hans is dressed up in the leader hose and he's trying to sneak away.
It came with the fame.
So good.
Is it too long,
so
too short?
good.
What's missing? What don't we need? This movie is, for me, as perfect as it can be.
Yeah.
It's an hour and 40 minutes, which is phenomenal. There are no really slow points in this film.
Nope.
Something is always happening.
Yeah.
So the movie really just flies.
Yeah.
It's a fast film.
It does. It rocks along.
And it's just entertaining you the entire time. I wouldn't do nothing to this film.
It doesn't need anything except a better hairdo. Other than that, this movie's fine.
Yeah, but is it too long, too short? Oh, I guess the hair would be
is
too short. Okay.
The movie is perfect in length. It doesn't need anything else at all. It's fine the way it is.
To me, these balls are perfect.
No, I just, like I said, the horror, I wish there was a little bit more horror in it, and I wish there would have been more of the Klopeks. Like, I wish they had dragged out that ending for another, I'd say 20 minutes.
Oh, I don't know about that.
I would have liked to see more just stuff with them, interaction. Like, they were really funny, and the guy, the first one,
Get off the car, Hep Cat. He was like, just the pizza cut. Very funny, Hep Cat.
He's hilarious.
Brother Theodore?
Right.
Yeah,
I have
Brother Theodore.
Like and he's been in some really obscure stuff,
Yeah.
so I don't know if I'll be able to find more of his things, but like I want to
I don't know if I want to. He's a scary looking dude.
He is, but
He looks like my neighbor. I told you that. I showed you
Klopeks,
pictures.
yeah.
I even called.
door.
I even called this guy next door to me, my own little Klopek.
He's standing behind.
He's looking in our window
He's
right
standing
now.
behind
Probably is.
Ray the entire time that they are in the house.
Right.
He's like 6 inches behind him, just staring at the back of his head.
Yeah.
The entire time.
Yeah.
It's so fucking funny.
Yeah.
So funny. That guy's hilarious.
He really is.
I would like to see more of him.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the thing too,
because
is
I think
like
it's
they
hilarious.
barge into the house and like the look on his face the entire time is like, I want to fucking kill these people. I want to
Oh,
kill
yeah.
them. And I love it because it's like,
Yeah.
and he's keeping his quiet. He
Yeah, he's keeping
doesn't
his
say
cool.
anything. He doesn't like snap back or any. It just, I love it. I would have loved to. See
I
more
get
of it.
why they did it though, because it kind of keeps up that air of mystery because you don't
Right,
see them
until the end,
So
yeah.
like everything that that Ray and Art and Mark are putting in our heads,
Right.
like is kind of going through our heads. Like it's all in our imagination now too.
Right. Yeah.
Like how creepy are these guys? You know.
It's all very
And I
quirky,
like
but
that.
pretty harmless.
And
Yeah, yeah.
and the thing is too is that like you meet obviously the kid first, and he's out there. It's
Yeah.
the children of the corn kid.
Yeah.
And
Courtney
then
Gaines,
Yeah.
then you meet Uncle
Brother Theodore.
Theodore.
Yeah.
Uncle
And he's like
Reuben.
kind of scary. Like
Yeah.
definitely
There's a sign on the
kind of.
tension scale.
Right. Like very like there's clearly something wrong.
Yeah.
So you're like, okay, these people, so now at this point you're like, all right, they were right. They were right. They're bad guys. And then the uncle comes in, and he's kind of normal. He looks a little funny because he's a funny looking actor.
Oh,
Well,
he's
it's great
Henry,
'cause
he's
they're all
Henry
Eastern.
Gibson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're all Eastern European.
Right.
They're just weird.
But he plays it very
played a Nazi
straight.
in Blues Brothers.
And he's very like friendly and he's in bright clothes. He's got the lab coat or whatever.
he's a
Sugar
doctor.
substitute,
Right.
and you're like, is this poison? You just poison us? You just fucking poison us?
But it's like because he's so in contrast with the other two, you almost think, oh, all right, maybe they're just a weird family, and this is who's the normal girl from the Munsters? Like,
Marilyn.
Yeah, like maybe he's the Marilyn. And then you get turned around again at the very end. So
It's like, don't judge a book by its cover.
Right.
Oh, wait, do.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, right,
Yeah.
for sure. Too long, too short?
No, I agree with you. It was perfect. I said that it rocked along. It just it doesn't stop.
If you
score.
remove the score, does the film hold up? I'm going to say yes. This movie isn't slow at all. It moves, but the music is really, really good. It definitely loses something. But it would if I was just, like you said, if I could see this at a theater
Right.
with no music and them just acting it out on stage, and it would be fantastic.
Right.
It really would.
right.
But the score is great.
Yeah.
I like the Gremlins homages and all the shit.
The
that's
Patton
mixed in there.
homage.
The Patton homage.
I would say the music, without music, it wouldn't hurt the movie, but I think the music helps the movie. It just makes it
Absolutely.
more entertaining. But like you, if you take it away, it's still a good movie.
I agree with Mark. It's
About time.
It only
Yes.
took.
How many years we've been doing this?
Yeah, same here. I put Goldsmith's score is great, but it could probably hold up without it.
All right. How does it stack up? I got top for me, Joe Dante. It's one of, so it's might be a tie. I love Inner Space. I fucking love that movie.
Yeah, it's a
So
good movie.
those are like a 1A, 1B for me. But it's definitely tops. And then Tom Hanks movies, it's tops for me up until like Big League of Their Own. So if I think about Tom Hanks, I think about him in like eras where like Big is when you're like, oh, this guy's a fucking actor.
Right.
And then League of Your Own,
And that
League of
one
Their
came
Own.
out right after this one.
Right, and then
Yeah.
League of Their Own comes out, and you're like, "Oh, this guy's really good." Right, and then he starts getting all these amazing roles, and he
Right.
becomes fucking Tom Hanks.
Yeah. Right.
But if I'm thinking like
he does
Splash,
Philadelphia.
Bachelor Party,
He starts
right,
doing the serious stuff.
right, and if I'm thinking of that era of Tom
Forrest
Hanks,
Gump.
this is my favorite Tom Hanks of that era. Over Bachelor Party, I love Splash too, but over Splash, over Bachelor Party, over what's the movie he did with Jackie Gleason, the kid with the red shoes.
Oh
Oh, yeah, the man with one red shoe.
The Man with One
Yeah,
Red
I
Shoe,
forgot about
like,
that one.
Money Pit,
did
like
too.
this is top for
Yeah,
me of that era.
Joe versus the volcano.
Yeah,
All those Meg Ryan movies. he did.
Volunteers. like
Oh yeah,
those,
Volunteers.
Oh, I forgot about Volunteers. That one was just okay. I
that
saw
the one
that
with
for
Robin
the first
Williams?
time. No, that's the
I
one.
get that one mixed
John
up.
Candy.
Yeah.
John
Him and
Candy.
John Candy.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's good, but it's not
It's
their
fine,
best.
yeah.
It's
Yeah.
good enough, I guess.
How about yourself?
It stacks up, let's see, for Joe Dante movies, Gremlins 2, The Howling, and skipping me at the moment. Yeah, this is top for me. This would probably be top Joe Dante, along with the other twos that I have mentioned. But I love most of his movies. So top Tom Hanks movie and top for Creepy Neighbor movie.
Yeah,
It's
Yeah.
one of the best.
That's a good one,
It's tops all around for me.
Not at the very top, but definitely high up for all those same categories. And I will say top for. I agree with Tito for this era of Tom Hanks. It's so far my favorite '80s Tom Hanks.
Tom Hanks will.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, for me, I just had horror comedies, and I put that it was up at the top because this movie makes me laugh.
Oh, even
from
for that
beginning to
category,
end.
for sure.
Yeah,
Same.
but I agree with all you guys. If we're going Tom Hanks movies, it's definitely up there. If we're going Joe Dante movies, it's definitely up there. If we're going, what was the category you just said?
No, you said something else.
'80s Tom Hanks is what I said.
All right, then maybe it was something else said. But anyway,
I said Scary Neighbor movies. Are you thinking-
that's the one. Scary
Okay.
Neighbor movies. Absolutely, it's up there.
Yeah.
I'm lost. If the movie had a post-credit scene, so in line with Derek's joke that didn't make the show, it could still potentially be funny. The house gets rebuilt, and some new neighbors move in only they're a black family.
Oh, no.
And the movie is told from their perspective.
Like Meet the Blacks.
Yeah, but
That's Meet the Blacks.
Oh, I never saw that movie.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
so Meet the
really?
Blacks it's set in the same universe as The Purge, but it's
yeah,
a
'cause
comedy.
they're all wearing masks and
But it's a
I've-
comedy. It's like the same. No, and I mean, and it's like The Purge. Like The Purge is going on, and it's the actual Purge.
Yeah.
But it's told from.
Is Mike Epps in that movie?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, I want
Mike
to see
Epps.
this.
Yeah.
It would be from their perspective. And
Do you want it?
No.
they wouldn't be killers. Obviously, the neighbors, we know who the neighbors are, but from their perspective, the rest of the neighborhood could be completely insane.
Right.
Which I think would be like a funny twist on.
So there's a Twilight Zone episode called "The Monsters Are Due on Maple Street."
Oh, yes.
Where
That was
they
one of the
all
first
think
ones
one
I
of them
saw.
is an
You
alien, right?
recommended that
Okay,
one to
so
me.
remember,
I've
they
got that one in
so
the,
they,
if you like.
So they rebooted the show in the 80s.
Yeah.
And they took that story and redid it again. But instead of having it be, they're looking at neighbors who think that they're aliens, a foreign family moves into the neighborhood. And that's pretty much what happens.
Yeah.
That, so it's kind of funny that
Is
you
it from the
brought that
neighbor's
up.
perspective?
It's still from the
neighborhood's
neighborhood's perspective, not
perspective.
the new neighbors.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
they keep to themselves and everything. But they assume it's terrorists
Yeah.
automatically.
Oh, interesting.
Instead
Yeah.
of aliens.
Yeah.
But the premise plays out pretty similar. The neighbors turn on one another because maybe you're in league with it. It's just funny.
I
That's
did really
what it
like that.
reminded me of.
You and Aaron both kind of. I never watched Twilight Zone.
Yeah.
And that episode I watched was one of the ones you recommended, and I started watching. I went on like a tear for a little while.
That's a
with
good
that.
one. That's one of my
Yeah,
favorites.
it's one of the best
I mean,
ones,
it's
too.
very The Burbs-ish or inspiring.
Yeah.
Clearly,
That
there's
just made
some
me think of it.
inspiration taken
Yeah.
from in that.
Mine is very similar
Oh,
to
hold
yours.
on. That wasn't
you got
my
one?
end credit scene.
I'm
That's
sorry.
what it reminded me of.
My fault.
No, my bad. Sorry. So my end credit scene is Walter trying on a new hairpiece and actually dying of a heart attack right then and there, only to have the hairpiece fall off his head and blow out the bathroom window. So he loses it
kinda
once
like-
again
yeah, I like that. He's
in
a
a fit
prick.
of irony.
He's a prick.
Yeah.
Or the dog
he was a
steals it or something.
Queenie's-
but
she's like
he
Queen
just
shit
can't hold
anyway.
on to that toupee. is what that-
That's the thing about these old guys. They never
they
go
never
anywhere
do
without
that.
their
That's
hair.
right.
I don't bother. Mark, get a toupee. I've seen the Burbs. I know what happened.
I don't like this thing.
Sorry about that.
And here's
Tom.
what I'm not doing with it.
Yeah. What's her name? Thought it was a rat on the stove. It's just his hair.
Mine is very similar to yours, Tito. The house having been rebuilt is sold, and the new neighbors arrive and step out of the moving truck. But for me, it's and this is going with the era. It's Roseanne Barr and Tom Arnold. Or just some other god awful neighbor
From Freddy's Dead.
neighbors you would right, like neighbors you just wouldn't want, and setting up a sequel for like
Oh, I like that.
and maybe
I
like in the
that.
sequel they're trying to get rid of the neighbors, but like the neighbors are the ones that are overbearing and
Oh, they're too much. They're
Yeah.
even too much for them.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. That's a good. I like that.
If you ever watched the Never Sleep Again documentary, I can't remember who, but somebody's talking about how during their filming of Roseanne and Tom in Freddy's Dead,
Freddy.
When they're trying to kidnap the kids?
No, they were just like making out the whole time, and
Yuck.
there was so much PDA, everybody was getting grossed out of it.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Sorry.
I kind of like that movie, but yeah, that's awful.
That movie's terrible, but I watch it.
You got an end credit?
I do.
Let's hear it.
All right. I got Dick Miller and Robert Picardo as the garbage men are still arguing about the garbage on the street and why cul-de-sacs suck.
That's good.
Is,
I like that.
is the trash still on the street too?
Yeah.
Have they
Oh, yeah.
picked
They
it
haven't
up?
picked
Okay,
it up.
all right.
No, it's in the public domain now.
You're going to pick it up.
It's
'cause
not
you're
their
a
job.
garbage
It's right
man.
there with Winnie the Pooh.
The
Steamboat
Supreme
Willie.
Court ruled that once garbage hits the sidewalk, they have a right to know. That's such a good back and forth. That's something that also doesn't really happen in movies anymore. Where he's like, he took his two buddies and he threw them in the movie, and then he gave them like a scene to just have
You
some
don't
fun.
you don't have that often.
Have
No.
some fun, guys.
It reminds me of the two garbage men from the Star Trek 4.
Oh yeah.
Remember they're in the park?
Yeah.
And my
Yeah.
wife wants to buy a toast oven. And I said, if you're going to spend $60 on a toaster oven, you're out of your goddamn mind. And then the fucking Klingon ship lands and crushes the garbage can in front of
What
them.
was that? I don't know and I don't want to know. You're buying.
Yeah, all right, I'm
Garbage men always like Terminator or Terminator 2. There's a scene with garbage men, right? They're
It must have been a thing back in the late 80s, early 90s.
Garbage men are the first to witness some sort of catastrophic or otherworldly event.
Well, there was that whole,
in the 80s.
Men at Work.
The Men at Work one.
With Emilio Estevez and Charlie Sheen.
Men at Work, oh my God.
Yep.
I have only
Repo
seen
Man?
that movie once.
Yeah.
I need to see that movie again.
I'm a fan of that one. Men at Work. Is there a better ending? No, not for me. I like the way it ends. I'm happy with it. I can't think of anything better.
I would I get what Derek is saying, that he's talking about it. I would like to see it, but it didn't bother me that I didn't. So the ending's good enough for me. Yeah.
I just would have preferred I actually kind of like the original ending. Like the thing is that they film scenes where like, you know, you see the bodies of the garbage men show up.
Right.
Yeah, in the trunk instead of the skulls.
Right.
Or it was a bunch of cheerleaders.
Right.
They had a few different options.
Oh, really?
And I kind of just would have I would have preferred
instead of like
for it to end that
random
way.
skulls. It's like people that you know.
That would have been kind of cool.
I agree.
That might have
That's what
fucked
I
me
have
up,
too,
though.
Derek.
That might have fucked me up.
That might have gone into a whole other too real direction, though. I feel like the bones add the kind of camp that they're not camp like it.
No,
there's some cartoonish elements to this.
Yeah, but I feel like
having the skulls is kind of this like Tom and Jerry sort of thing. That's pretty cool.
But the bodies of the garbage men could be made up to, you know, kind of be comical.
The garbage men
there's
more
a way
so
to
than
do
the cheerleaders.
Yeah.
Cheerleaders, you're getting into House of a Thousand Corpses stuff.
Right.
Two dead garbage men in the 80s, that was a common thing. That would have played better.
I would have thought like, you know,
Art's wife,
and a
maybe?
mailman.
Yeah.
You know,
Art's wife.
Art's wife, and he cheers at the
Yeah,
end.
there you
super
go.
happy about it.
Yeah. I am not pressing charges.
Yes, folks, we're married. All four of us. Happily married. We should probably throw that in case the wives are listening.
Yes.
Very happy.
Super happy.
Sanity.
A little too happy. No, I love my wife. She's great.
Brian?
Better ending?
Yeah, same as Derek. The thing with the skulls in the trunk, I think I would have liked it better if it was the garbage men. And like you said, there was I read that there was a work print ending where with Henry Gibson attacking Tom Hanks with the syringe in the back of the ambulance.
Yeah.
And they hear Ray screaming, so the entire neighborhood opens up the thing to see him in the act. And I think that might have worked better.
Yeah, that's kind of cool, too.
Yeah. But I still like the one that we got.
Right.
Citizen's arrest! Put you under citizen's arrest. If you like this, you might also like... I'm all over the place with this.
Do it.
I'm going Night Shift, Splash, Gung Ho, Gremlins, Inner Space.
Night Shift, the one with Keaton?
Yeah.
Oh, good one.
Just because I don't know that time period. I just love those movies. They don't make fucking movies like this anymore. Inner Space, Nothing But Trouble, because it's a little bit dark. Throw Mama from the Train, which is like one of those funnier,
Hitchcock
kind of dark,
stories.
films that you just don't. I don't know. They just perfected in the '80s these weird fucking movies.
Yeah.
That they just don't make anymore.
There really was a tone to those films. The more you mention that, you're absolutely right. They are off kilter in
That's
the
what I
best
mean.
way possible. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, that's it. That's what I got.
I've got Rear Window, Manhattan Murder Mystery, Disturbia, Fright Night, Blue Velvet, Matinee, Joe versus the Volcano. Those were the ones that immediately sprung to mind.
No,
So that's where, like, sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but when you talk about a different ending, then it makes me think of Fright Night, and that makes me think straight up horror. Where this is so light, like,
So
I don't know, like, I would let my
keeps
daughter
with the
watch
tone
this
of the
movie.
rest of the
I would let,
film.
like, my
Yeah.
kid watch this movie.
But
My younger.
see,
my
so
youngest.
what I was getting at earlier, and you actually already mentioned it, is one of them is Nothing But Trouble. I got like I think like I wanted the basement to be a Nothing But Trouble like kind of thing going on. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but see, Nothing But Trouble for me, the problem was it was like two different movies. There was like all that bone-crushing stuff that looked like it belonged in
And then the hammy courtroom
and
stuff.
then you got the hammy courtroom stuff, and it's like, well, okay, which direction are we going in? The Burbs just feels like a continuous direction, which anymore, and it would go into that Nothing But Trouble thing, which I had a problem with. It's like, how am I supposed to feel about this stuff? I sound like a millennial. I don't know how I feel about that. But
I'm
like,
triggered. I also had the Money Pit, Rear Window, Keeping Up with the Joneses, which is a comedy. It's a neighborhood comedy thing.
Dave Duchovny, right? The one with is that the one with?
No, no.
Okay, I'm
it's
Garbage.
Gal Gadot and John Hamm are like this
Oh, I
super
remember that.
sexy
Is that like
spy couple that live in this
1920?
neighborhood.
maybe it came out? Was that pre-pandemic, post-pandemic?
Pre.
It's a newer
With
I know what you're
Zach
talking about.
Galifianakis and
Yeah.
I forget who plays his wife in it, but like it's a normal suburban couple and they have a feeling that something's going on with these people and it turns out that they're spies.
Oh, Isla Fisher.
Yes,
Oh, I like her.
Yeah, me too.
Fright Night and
think
Nothing
Fright
But Trouble.
Night.
Oh, I totally got Fright Night vibes right in the beginning. Just that scene with him watching and
Yeah, spying on the neighbor.
yeah.
Oh, and he takes a step and the wind blows him
Right,
back.
and like you can see him up in the window watching him watch him.
What about you, sir?
I have the movie Neighbors. See, my thing was like trying to think of like people
the Seth
spying on
Rogen.
others.
Yeah.
No,
Neighbors.
well, I have that one, the 2015. But you guys ever? There was a movie in 1981. It was Dan Aykroyd and John Belushi called Neighbors, where John Belushi
never
played the
seen
straight
this
man
movie.
and Dan Aykroyd was the weird neighbor who moved in next door and tormented John Belushi.
Really?
Funny fucking movie. I saw it once. It's not available, and
Yeah.
I don't know why. I haven't seen it in 40 years.
Yeah.
40 years. But it was funny. Very funny. If it ever comes out, watch it. The Twilight Zone, Monsters That Do on Maple Street, we mentioned that. Also the episode The Shelter, with the bomb shelter, where the neighbors go crazy and turn on each other. Fright Night, Neighbors 2015 with Zac Efron and Seth.
Oh, I didn't even
Seth
think about
Rogen,
that
Yeah,
one.
Seth Rogen. Rear Window, Christmas Vacation, because the whole
nice,
thing
yeah.
with the neighbors on that street, and Pacific Heights. Remember
Yes,
Pacific
I
Heights?
forgot
with-
about
with-
Pacific
Michael Keaton.
Heights.
Is that the
Michael
Michael
Keaton,
one?
yeah.
That's a
Yeah.
great example.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is Madeline Stowe?
It's Madeline Stowe and what's his name? He
It's
was
not Ray Liotta. Is Ray Liotta in that?
no. You're thinking of the cop one.
I am thinking of the cop one.
No, who was it? Matthew Modine? I think was it Matthew Modine was Madeline Stowe's husband.
I think so.
They own
Yeah.
the duplex, and Michael Keaton moves in, and he just becomes the neighbor from hell. He starts ripping the place apart,
It is Matthew Modine, yeah.
not paying his rent, and they can't do anything about it. They go to the cops, and the cops are like,
Oh, you know what? Madeline Stowe was in the fucking
The Ray Liotta one, yeah,
It's
yeah.
Melanie Griffith.
And is that the one with no? I think
Tippi
Kurt
Hedren's in it.
Russell. Kurt Russell in that one with Madeline Stowe.
Kurt Russell, Madeline Stowe,
and Ray Liotta.
And Ray Liotta
yeah,
in
that's
that
another
one,
good
yes.
one. Came out around the same time
yeah.
too.
Pacific Heights is good though.
Yeah.
It's like
Well,
a duplex, and they live. Yeah,
There's a lot
Yeah.
of good actors in that.
It's
one.
a really
Keaton
good
plays
movie.
a crazy
Pacific
person.
Heights.
Keaton-
Great scene with cockroaches in that movie.
Yeah, Keaton is awesome in that movie. He plays
have
a
to check
real
that out.
He
nut.
can be really scary.
Yeah.
It's The Joneses, the one with Dave Duchovny, by the way.
Oh, okay.
Similar premise. So I'm not stupid.
So those are mine.
I didn't say you were stupid.
No, I'm telling the audience is listening. I hear ya.
Award for what are you doing in this movie?
MVP. You don't? Did
no,
we
I-
skip over MVP?
no,
No,
we
MVP's
do
next.
MVP last.
Yeah, we're going
We do?
around now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
all right. Because I've always got it like before that one for some reason. I'm going to switch it now, so
That's
I don't
all
do
right.
this again next week.
So I went with Picardo and Dick Miller. I couldn't. I mean, Nicky Cat. I was thinking he plays one of Ricky's friends.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I got Picardo and Dick Miller. They're in all his movies, and I like when you see, especially smaller character actors who appear in directors' films. I just love that shit. So, and then seeing this movie and bouncing back from Inner Space and then Gremlins and all these other. Oh, you're like, oh, it's fucking Dick Miller again. Oh, Rob
Same
Picardo's
guy.
in
Love
here.
Dick Miller.
Yeah. So those are mine.
I do. He can carry on his like in
Yeah.
most of his scenes when he shows up. You want more of him in almost every movie. I'm going Courtney Gaines, Malachi from Children of the Corn. I always forget he's in this. I don't know why,
Yeah.
because he's made up well. But it's like, oh, Malachi, what are you doing here? Oh, that's right.
I think it was just this past year that I realized he was the same kid. I think you guys brought it up. He was the same kid from Can't Buy Me Love.
Oh, you shit on my house.
Shit on my
Yeah,
house.
yeah.
I didn't realize that was him all these years.
Yep.
Had no
Scram.
idea. I
Isn't
knew he was Malachi, but I
Back
didn't realize
to the
that-
Future? Isn't he the guy who's like, scram?
Oh, he
I
tries
think
to
so, yeah. Yeah.
dance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Freaking Malachi.
Yeah.
Outlander!
I was gonna go with the Heat Miser, because that's what Uncle Ruben looks like. When I first saw him, I'm like, holy shit, he looks
like my neighbor.
He's got like this big, gigantic frown that's like
Oh,
it's
yeah.
just massive. He's got a massive head, and it's like all one big frown. But I'm gonna go with Rick Ducommun, who plays Art.
Yeah, Dukeman.
Because I had never seen him in anything, and I hadn't seen this. When I immediately, the first thing I thought was Cindy Campbell's father from
Yeah,
Scary
from
Movie, and I'm
Scary
like,
Movie.
holy shit! Like he's in this. Like he used to make movies.
They left a whole mess of drugs in the
Right.
house.
I've got Dick Miller and Picardo as well. I was thinking along the same lines as Tito.
So good. MVP. I was a toss up for me, but I'm gonna go Dante because It's just I can't think of the word. Like they just don't make fucking movies like this. There's no movie. Like we're all talking about movies that are kind of similar, but for me, there's nothing like this fucking movie that's so funny and like a little bit creepy and just weird and interesting and really well acted, and the score is really, really good, and there's no fucking downbeats. It's just fun all the way through. Like I'll give it to Dante.
Yeah, I'm going with Joe Dante as well. I've spoke about him on this show many times. I think he's one of the most underappreciated and like just underrated genre directors of all. He's always on Masters of Horror documentaries talking about the usual suspects, Carpenter, Wes Craven, all the greats, but there's never a feature on him. And that always pisses me off because this guy has done some iconic horror films, most notably Gremlins, I think if we're going to talk about the most popular. I love The Howling. It's my favorite werewolf film, and it's celebrated amongst the horror community. But for whatever reason, like he's always...
overlooked.
He's always off the
definitely
list.
Overlooked.
Always overlooked. Him and Stuart Gordon, I think, were the two that were always pushed aside. John Landis is always on there. He only made like 2 horror films. Like Joe Dante has made really good horror films.
Who's Stuart Gordon?
Reanimator and Dagon and From Beyond. He does a lot of.
He did Dagon?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know
He
that.
did a lot
That was another H.P. Lovecraft.
Right.
Story. Yeah.
Right. He had something to do with it. I'll have to go back, but I'm pretty sure he did that one as well. Yeah, and no one makes movies like Joe Dante. They don't. He's had his stinkers that I really didn't care for, and
everybody
they didn't
does
like that. But overall, his body of work is impressive.
Yeah,
it's his Twilight Zone installment's one of the best ones in there. I like him. I like his use of the same characters. He has a lot of fun. Matinee is an incredible film.
Yeah,
that is such a good movie. No one ever talks about Matinee.
No,
like
I didn't even know that movie existed.
The one with John Goodman.
Yeah, I didn't know that movie existed until you guys talked about it on
William Castle salute.
On
like
Monster Serial.
This guy makes some great films when he teams up with John Sayles, and these two make a film. It's awesome. Joe Dante's breakthrough movie I love, Hollywood Boulevard. Like the guy has a knack for making fun films that are just slightly bizarre and skewed. Very good word. And no one makes them like him. Like Tito said, they don't make Joe Dante films anymore. And when they try to do something like it, they fail.
Right.
No one's going to make a werewolf film like Joe Dante. No one's going to do a Gremlins and many have tried to make Gremlins like movies, and some were good like Critters, but most of them sucked like Munchies or Hobgoblins. They're just you can't do it.
Yeah. Something that's as commercially successful, like it rides the line of just like very appealing to a mass audience, but also very appealing to people who are fans of the genre, right? Where it's just like, you wouldn't say that The Gremlins is, it was too commercial to be good. It's good. It's a really good movie, but it was a fucking hit like E.T.
Right.
Yeah.
Only scary.
Right.
But I'd let my kids watch. I wouldn't think
it's
twice about Gremlins because it's not that bad. But it's kind of fucking scary.
Yeah. And he rolls with the punches given to him.
Very
If he
good.
has a bad movie, he just goes out and he makes another one. He doesn't unless he's forced to, he doesn't change the way he makes films. And I respect that about him. I think his movies are great. I think he's great, and he needs to be more recognized.
Yeah.
Nice. I gave it to Rick Ducommun and Bruce Dern. It's a tie because they're such a great mix of personalities, and they're the perfect antagonizers for Hanks.
Yeah.
Like Hanks is obviously like the straight man in this movie, but like the two of them from both sides, it's almost like, two devils instead of a devil and angel.
Yeah.
And they're just constantly egging him on, and they're just both over the top, hilarious. And I loved it.
It doesn't work as well without them.
No.
Right.
And Tom Hanks is great.
And I
in this
even
movie,
tried to
but,
think are there other actors back then that maybe would have fit that character? And not really. Like I think that the way that the two of them played it was just perfect for this movie.
And like I said, there's such
different.
extremely different personalities.
Right. They're all
that
so different.
Shouldn't work together.
Right.
You know, you've got the fat slob that's a real jerk.
Right.
You've got the ex-military gun nut, and then you've got Tom, who's kind of like the straight man,
Right.
like you said. These guys shouldn't be hanging out.
You're mixing
These
oil,
guys
water, and
these
ketchup.
guys should barely be saying good morning to each other, probably. You know.
Yeah, right. It's all about the lawns, and that's basically it.
Yeah.
Right.
Like Ray and Art kind of being friends, you can see because he's
Kinda.
like the sidekicky kind of
Yeah.
thing to him.
Yeah.
Same age.
But then, like,
you know,
I'm
Bruce
not
is a little
fucking
bit
hanging-
older.
I'm not talking to Rumsfeld.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
The Klopeks are back,
Yeah.
and they brought the coppers. He falls off the roof and shoots the fucking gun. That shit's hysterical.
I'll talk
Oh
to
my
his
God.
wife. I'm all right with that.
Oh yeah, for sure. No tan lines.
He made me think of Ted Nugent.
Don't be a meatball.
Oh yeah,
He gave me very
Yeah.
Ted
I
Nugent
can see
vibes.
that.
Yeah. For sure.
That's it. Oh,
I didn't go.
Who was your?
who should be MVP?
My MVP is there's a lot to choose from, but I had to give it to Carrie Fisher. She was adorable in this movie.
I love it.
And
Wow,
and,
right out of
and
nowhere.
despite the short haircut, she's the voice of reason from the very beginning of
That
this
is
movie.
true. I can't argue with
And she's perfect. Just trying to calm everybody down. It's wonderful.
I think she is perfect
She gives
in
a
this movie,
fantastic
too.
performance in this movie.
Oh, the performance is awesome. She's great.
Yep.
She looks great.
Just
She's
put a hat
good.
on.
She's fine.
Her hair's fine. Fine. She looks-
Fine.
I love it. She looks so great in this movie.
Agreed.
She really does. I love her. Fucking the Burbs.
That's the
Burbs.
Burbs.
That's it.
Thumbs up from everybody.
Totally.
Man, this is like
Man,
such
I
a
didn't
run
know
of
you
good
had-
movies.
2024 is
you
a
hadn't
weird
seen it,
year,
man.
man.
Yeah.
I would definitely.
Don't worry, guys. April's
Fuck, we
coming.
should've watched
and
the-
you know what we
we
do
watched
in
the-
April. This will change.
Eat
This
Easter
little
candy?
I'm okay, you're okay vibe we got going.
Okay, you're okay.
Don't worry, that's going to change up soon. What is making the geek flags fly, gentlemen? Anything at all? Tito?
I got two quick ones. I saw Argyle recently.
How was it? I've been dying to see it.
So it's getting shit reviews. I thought it was really fun. It's probably a little too long. It's over 2 hours.
Okay.
Sam Rockwell is my fucking hero.
Yeah,
so he's
great in
fantastic
everything.
in it.
Bad timing.
The music is really fun. Everybody in it's good. John Cena, who I'm kind of like, too much John Cena lately. He's really good. Henry Cavill.
Henry Cavill. Yep.
He's really good.
Dua Lipa?
Dua Lipa, she's
she act?
She's fine.
Can she act?
Yeah.
Yeah?
She's not in a lot of the movie.
She
Bryce,
can't- you've seen it?
I really
No.
like
Oh.
Bryce Dallas Howard, though. I think she's great in it. And the story's really clever. If you like the Kingsman movies,
I do.
the action in this movie is on par with some of the action in those movies. There's some
Cool.
really fucking
Well, yeah, because it's Matt Vaughn.
Yeah.
some really fun action scenes. There's some really funny scenes. It probably could be a little bit shorter, but overall, I thought it was a lot of fun. I like Matthew Vaughn movies.
Yeah, me too.
I like the Kingsman movies. It has a nice little Easter egg at the end that might suggest this larger universe.
Oh, cool.
Kind of connected to some of his other things.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be coming to Apple Plus very soon.
Yeah.
Because Apple Plus produced this movie.
Right.
Oh, I
Or
know
Apple
that.
produced
Yeah.
this movie, I should
Yeah.
say. And I think it was originally just going to be made for the streaming service, but they ended up putting it out theatrically and
Right.
it kind of bombed.
Yeah, it didn't
so
do
I
very
thought
well.
it was going to be.
But again, no one goes to the movies anymore.
It's true.
It's not
It's true.
like
but
it used to be.
They,
You
they're
can't-
still they're afraid to admit that it's dying, and they're
Yeah.
still going to put stuff out there.
Right.
Yeah.
But it was funny because I remember the day that it opened in theaters. Like I was watching something else on Apple, and right there was like a big banner thing for it saying "coming soon," and I'm like,
Oh,
"Well, what the hell is
interesting.
this?"
Right.
And every week it gets smaller and smaller and more towards the
right.
bottom of the screen. But so I keep clicking on it because I'm still
Right.
watching that Masters of the Air thing that's going on Apple Plus, and I keep checking to see if it's on there, but it's not.
I liked it. Again, it's got a bunch of people that I like, made by a guy that I really like. I could see if you saw it and maybe it didn't. And it was. I was watching, I was like, damn, this is a little bit too long. But some of those fight scenes are just so fun. It's just like a fun movie, I thought. The other thing really quickly, and I think this is like the best show I've seen in a long time. I was telling them earlier, The Gentleman is on Netflix. Theo James is the main guy. Giancarlo Esposito is the only other
yeah, that's who I
who's in
was-
everybody's TV show now.
Because he's
But,
awesome.
Yeah, he's very good in it, and it's a fucking Guy Ritchie show. I love Guy Ritchie movies, and it's basically an 8-hour Guy Ritchie movie.
Is it related to The Gentleman?
Yes.
Same.
Yes. Different
Oh.
characters, same kind of universe or idea.
Oh, all right.
But really, really funny, really cool. I love like the Guy Ritchie's British gangster world that he
Yeah,
creates.
me too.
And besides Tarantino, I hate the man. I love the dialogue. He's as close for me with Tarantino as far as like how good his dialogue is and hearing it spoken from actors and how fun and quirky it can be. So yeah, it's a fun show. Definitely check that out. It's fucking. I thought it was fantastic.
Nice.
Just that.
All I got right now is I'm going to give everybody a reminder to go see Josh Dowling at the Horror Depot AuthorCon. That is coming March 23rd. We talked about it last week. We had Josh Dowling on the show.
great having him
it
on
was
again.
awesome. So I'm just going to give him a shout out again because it's coming up. And what else you got to do on a Saturday from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m.? Nothing.
Well, and not just seeing
Nothing.
Josh, it's seeing you.
And seeing me. That's
will be
true.
there.
I'm going to be
And-
there
and
with
about
copies of Werewolf
30
with the
other
Chainsaw,
authors.
some 30 other awesome authors. Check it out. Sounds like it's going to be a great show. If you listened to the episode last week, it sounds like he's got some amazing stuff planned. I can't wait. Saturday, March 23rd at the Rhode Island College Union Hall from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. Come check it out, or I will come for you.
Nice. My geek flag comes with a subtitle this week. I'm in a Tokyo state of mind.
We noticed that also.
Oh,
Yeah.
we're watching some anime.
lot of
Yeah.
anime on your food.
Well, and more importantly, the two big things that I've been watching. Shogun started on FX.
Oh, yeah.
I've been watching that. It's awesome. Hiroki Sanada, who was he was in John Wick. He was in
Scorpion in the new.
He's Scorpion in Mortal Kombat,
movies.
right?
Yeah.
I love him. I love him in everything.
Last
he's in.
Samurai. He's awesome in the Last Samurai.
He is. He's such a great actor. And it's a really good show. It makes me disappointed that I started it so soon. I should have waited because it's episodic. It's a weekly.
How many episodes are there?
I don't know. So far, there's 4. I think. I've only watched 3.
Is it going to be a limited series?
Yeah, it's a mini
Okay.
series.
All right.
I don't. Yeah,
Good.
they're-
Okay. 'Cause
I
They
remember
might
the
have a
original one
second
was-
season, but
Yeah.
I'm not sure if they'll. And the other one that I watched, I've only seen 2 episodes so far, but you got to check the show out. Blue Eye Samurai on Netflix. It's an animated show. It's the quality of the show is crazy. Like the animation is absolutely stunningly beautiful. It's got a great cast. It's got George Takei, Masaoka from Heroes. It takes place during 17th century Edo period Japan. Follows Mizu, who's a half white, half Japanese. It's called an onomushu, which is a female warrior who, like, back in that era, that fought alongside samurai, but they were females. As she seeks vengeance against 4 white men, one of whom is her father, who illegally remained in Japan during the closing of its borders by the Tokugawa shogun.
Oh, this is like cell shading. This is cool. The animation looks cool.
Right. It's like really, really cool animation. There's awesome action scenes. There's awesome.
It does look good.
It's
That does look good.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's got blue eyes, so it's like because. And back
Oh,
then,
hence the name.
yes. Back and then on top of it, in the first episode,
So it's not just a clever title.
she's
The Shitty Beatles?
so, like, you're supposed to think she's a guy,
Yeah.
in she pretends to be a guy,
Oh, like Mulan.
right?
Yeah.
And then at
like
the very end of the first episode, you find out that it's actually a woman, which you kind of knew because her voice is obviously a woman, right? So it's really like it was really good. I really enjoyed it, and I'm a big fan of Japanese culture.
How many episodes was it? Oh, you said you only seen
I've
two
only
so
seen
far.
2 so far.
Oh, okay.
And then Shogun, I'm pretty sure there's 4 episodes out. Okay. I've seen 3. I'm a little bit behind because
That looks cool.
I'm trying to
I definitely want to
movies
see
that I keep buying.
No.
So mix it up.
I haven't really seen much this week. On Tito's recommendation, I did watch season 4 of True Detective on HBO Max. This is the season with Jodie Foster, and it's fantastic. It's 6 episodes.
Yeah,
6 episodes, and I breezed through it in 2 nights. 2.5 nights, really, because, again, this time change thing is one of the other ones. I had like 2 episodes to go, and I fell asleep on the 5th episode. And I woke up, and it was already into the 6th, and I didn't even see any of the 5th episode. I just fell right to sleep.
Yeah.
So I had to restart it the second night, and I finished it last night, and I loved it. I thought it was a fantastic series. So now I think it makes me want to go back and watch the middle
too.
2, because
I
I saw
want
the
to
first
start all over,
season.
too.
Couldn't get into the second season because it was so different from the first one, but now I'll go back because I think at the beginning I didn't realize that this was going to be an anthology and it was going to follow different stories from season to season. So now that I know, I will go back and watch
3
it.
is good. I like 3.
Yeah?
With Mahershala
Yeah, well,
Ali and
He's so awesome.
Deacon Frost.
Yeah.
Played Deacon Frost.
Oh,
Stephen
yes,
Dorff.
yes.
Oh, that's cool. We'll get there. Sarah, we'll get there eventually.
And season 2 was one that had Colin Farrell, right?
Yeah, Vince Vaughn,
Yeah.
Taylor Kish, and
It's Colin
my
Farrell.
boo, Rachel McAdams.
Yeah, so that was me. That was pretty much it for me.
Nice.
Other than that, same old shit.
Well, I'll tell you guys, the time change is messing everybody up. It's keeping people asleep, awake. But I'll tell you, when they should be sleeping when they should be awake, or whatever. But I'll tell you what is not ever going to change are these awesome episodes of Three Geeky Dads. They're going to be coming to you every week, unless one of us goes on vacation or something. But we'll be back always. Until then, though, you have a plethora of episodes to choose from to just hold you over until that next episode. And Brian, where can they go?
I'm just glad that you didn't say that if you're having trouble sleeping, put us on. Thank
Well,
you.
you could do that
Thank you for
too.
not saying that, Mark.
Yeah, put on the Invisible Man. That works.
No. That'll keep you
So
up. That'll
where
keep you
can
up.
where can they go?
They can go to www.3gdpodcast.com. That's www.
The number 3.
GDpodcast.com. And as Mark said, you'll be able to find all of our past episodes there, along with one-click buttons where you can easily subscribe to us. If you're not already a subscriber, please go to the website, smash one of those buttons to the podcast platform of your choice, and you will be sure to never miss an upcoming episode. Also, our social media presences are there. We can be found at Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Our audio portion of our show can be found weekly on YouTube as well, and all the links are there on our website. We have a Ko-fi page. Ko-fi is kind of like Patreon. It's if you like the show, and we hope you do, maybe you would consider giving a small donation to help keep the show going, because as we say each week, podcasting is not cheap. Please give it a 5-star rating and review wherever you can rate and review podcasts, or just go to the website and do it. It's super easy. Doesn't cost anything, and it really helps us to push the show a little further forward from the podcast pack, because it's getting very crowded out there. And it also, more importantly, makes it easier for people to find us while they are searching for good podcasting content. And with that, gentlemen, I am just going to say thank you out there, everybody, for listening. And back to you, Mark.
Thank you, Brian. Thank you, gentlemen. And thank you all for listening to yet another episode of Three Geeky Dads. We will be back next week with another In the March of Madness episode with more maddening good times. What will it be? You'll just have to stay tuned to find out. It's maddening. It's maddening right there. So, until next time for Three Geeky Dads, I am Mark.
I'm Derek.
I'm Brian.
I'm Tito.
Saying, keep watching the skies, because whatever is falling down, it's certainly not garbage. I know that.
About a 9 on the tension scale, huh, Mark?
Yeah. I was parked outside all day.
It was garbage.
Garbage. That's hilarious. Garbage.
Garbage. Was so much better.
Garbage.
Garbage.
Calling them Garbies.
I know. I thought he was calling to the garbage.
Garbies.
Like, garbage!
Garbies.
Ah! He was realizing the garbage.
Yeah, the garbage was getting picked up. Garbage.
Yeah.
Garbage.
My wife
good.
thought so too, and she's smart. She has a master's degree. With me, it's common, but if it can fool my wife. Garbage. Good night. I gotta pee. It's happened to us. We get sucked in because it's an actor we used to like.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, what's Judd Nelson doing in this movie?
Oh, yeah. I remember somebody was it you? Where he's got the girl locked up in his basement?
It could have been
Was
me.
that the Judd Nelson?
Yeah.
Somebody was telling me about it.
There's a Judd Nelson.
Judd Nelson.
There was a version of Fear, the story. Mark Wahlberg. Yes, but this one had Fred Savage as the crazy guy in it.
Ooh.
Interesting.
It was.
Are they going after Winnie Cooper?
We should
Did
have.
you ever?
Danica.
Did you ever watch Boy Meets World?
Yes, I
Too
did.
old? No, but you did.
Love Boy
Did you ever
Meets
see
World.
the episode where Fred Savage tries to steal Topanga from?
No.
He's like the cool professor,
Oh.
but secretly he's trying to like pick up on Topanga.
That's disgusting. That's a student.
That's what I'm saying, bro.
It's a strange world we live in. That's Ben Savage's brother in real
This is
life.
Broski, yeah,
Broski. I mean, Fred Savage was the better looking of the two.
for sure. I don't think Ben's pulling in Winnie.
No. Ben couldn't pull in Becky Slater.
He did pull a Topanga, though.
Yeah,
That's
but
pretty
that's
good.
what the script allowed.
That's-
And that's only because Ryder Strong was he gay? No, he didn't end up being gay.
No, he's just
No.
troubled.
Just troubled. He was too
Yeah,
troubled
he's
for.
too troubled. He's got a lot going on in his
He
life.
totally. Ryder Strong was that show, man. Ryder Strong.
Hunter? Right? Is that his name?
Hunter, yeah. It should have been Hunter and Topanga. What a great name. They could have been
Hunter
like
and Topanga?
They could have been like a crime-solving duo right there.
Yeah, for sure. They could have been like bounty hunters or something.
Hunter and Topanga.
The Predator?
The Predator.
Oh,
The
that's
Predator.
The Predator.
Predators is the
Oh,
one
the
on
Shane
the
Black
planet.
one is
Yeah.
okay.
When they're on the planet with the serial killer.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That was a good twist.
Venom.
I was
right?
still like, why would you
Was
take
it
that
a
guy?
Topher,
It was.
Topher Grace?
It was. I was like, oh, these predators are getting really like, you know,
Scary Topher Grace.
like, yeah.
That man
It really-
is not
that's a-
scary.
What a deep dive into this guy's personality. Like, oh, this guy's, it's psychological. We should bring him onto our planet and hunt him. Imagine if they were afraid of him. All the predators are terrified because he's playing like Hannibal Lecter style
That
mind
asshole
games
from
with them.
Spider-Man 3! Run! He was a terrible Venom!
He was a terrible Venom.
Ew, he was not a good Venom at all. All right, let's do this. I'm ready.
Yeah,
I'd
this is
rather the
American
accent.
style voice.
Because I don't know what this was. This is the
Yeah.
whole movie. And it sounded
It's all
terrible.
very strange.
Yeah,
No,
it ruined it.
I loved his Bane voice.
I like
Well,
his
the
Bane
Bane
too.
voice you have sold me on because we got the cartoon Bane. So I forgive him for that
No,
one.
but his quotes are good.
I like
does
Those are
have-
fun things to say, you know? Like,
He does. I'm going to agree
I like
with
his
you.
Voice. I like his voice.
Yes,
But-
I was born in the
Yeah,
darkness.
you merely
You
adopted
merely
the darkness.
adopted
I
it.
was born into it.
And then he said, the rapist, not the therapist.
The penis
I don't
mightier.
know. I liked him in Fury Road.
when Gotham
Road was good.
burns to ashes,
He
Great.
didn't talk.
then you have permission to die.
I don't
Very
know.
few
He looks
lines.
like an old baby.
Well, yeah.
He's got a Donald Pleasant thing happening. Like, he looks like an old infant.
Well,
Interesting.
Yeah.
he was a young Picard.
Oh,
That's true.
Oh, right.
That's true.
I'm
I forgot about
Picard.
that.
I didn't have this voice then, but imagine if I did. Engage. Make it show.
Shut up, Wesley.
Shut up, Wesley.
You merely adopted warp speed. I was born into it.
Do you have a dad joke?
I got a couple to run by you.
Okay.
Suburb jokes. What does a suburban neighborhood do if there's a blackout?
What?
Lock the doors and windows.
We're not doing that one.
I asked 20 women in my neighborhood about their preferred shampoo. A staggering 100% of them use "Get out of my shower."
I like that.
And I got this one for you, Mark.
Okay.
What do you call a sketchy Italian neighborhood?
What?
The spaghetto.
That's actually good too.
Dog of the side.
I like that one.
Doc
Dog of the side.
Are we doing this
Side.
the sketchy Italian?
Which one do you want? Either that or the get out of my shower one.
Yeah, I like
the
either
shower
of
one?
those. Yeah.
Not the
I
shower
like
one.
the,
I like the shower one. I think it's
but the
better.
spaghetto one we could use for
I
another
can
time.
throw that into the
You can
into
throw
the,
that one
the
into
show.
anything.
Yeah, well, I'm
I'll
already
throw it into the
recording
show.
it. We could use it as
Yeah.
an outtake.
the spaghetto. Tuck of the side.
top of the cheese.
Something matter for you. Why you want to come and rule the world? Tuck of the side. Stay up in the apocalypse. All right, let's do it. Yep. Hey, 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 hey. That's all it would be. Behind the scenes. With no
Behind the scenes. I want to see that on film.
Garbage. Garbage.
Garbage.